स्क्रीन में आप देख सकते हैं इस वीडियो को। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Pakistan military continued with its provocations, carrying out aggressive actions employing multiple threat vectors all along the western border. Pakistan employed UCAV, drones, long-range weapons, loitering munitions and fighter aircrafts to target civilian areas and military infrastructure. Pakistan military also resorted to air intrusions using drones and firing of heavy caliber weapons along the line of control. Along the international border and the line of control, air intrusion and several harassment attacks were also attempted from Srinagar till Nalia at more than 26 locations. Indian Armed Forces successfully neutralized these threats and majority of the vectors. However, limited damage was sustained to equipment and personnel at Indian Air Force stations at Udhampur, Pathankot, Adampur and Bhuj. There were also several high-speed missile attacks noticed subsequently after 0140 hours in the night at several air bases in Punjab. In a deplorable cowardly act, targeting of civilian infrastructure also had taken place, where Pakistan attacked the Medicare Center and school premises at the air bases of Srinagar, Avantipur and Udhampur, yet again displaying irresponsible targeting of our civilian infrastructure. In a swift and calibrated response, Indian Armed Forces carried out precision attacks only on identified military targets. These included technical infrastructure, command and control centers, radar sites and weapon storage areas. Pakistan military targets at Rafiqi, Murid, Chaklala, Rahim Yar Khan, Sukur and Chunya were engaged using air-launched precision weapons from our fighter aircraft. Radar sites at Pasroor and Sialkot Aviation Base were also targeted using precision munitions. While carrying out these responses, India ensured minimum collateral damage. Pakistan has also attempted to execute a continued malicious misinformation campaign with claims of destruction of Indian S-400 system at Adampur, destruction of airfields at Suratgarh and Sirsa, BrahMos base at Nagrota, RT gun positions at Dehrangyari and Chandigarh forward ammunition depot, with heavy damages to other military stations being propagated on social media. India unequivocally rejects these false narratives being spread by Pakistan. Along the line of control also, Pakistan has attempted multiple air intrusions using drones and conducted shelling using heavy caliber RT guns, targeting civilian infrastructure and killing some civilians. Heavy exchange of artillery mortars and small arms fire in Kupwara, Baramulla, Poonch, Rajouri and Aknoor sectors continued. Indian Army has responded effectively and proportionately, causing extensive damage to Pakistan Army. Pak military has been observed to be moving their troops into forward areas, indicating offensive intent to further escalate the situation. Indian Armed Forces remain in a high state of operational readiness. All hostile actions have been effectively countered and responded appropriately. Indian Armed Forces reiterate their commitment to non-escalation, provided it is reciprocated by the Pakistan military. At the end, I would also like to show you a few images of Air Force bases in the Punjab sector and Rajasthan sector, where it is mighty clear that we are debunking the Pakistani claims of causing destruction at these air bases. You can yourself see the normalcy and these air force stations. This is Sirsa, Suratgarh. The runways are intact. There are also time stamps, just notice, they are also time stamped. This is today. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Qureshi. Thank you, Wing Commander Singh. I just have a few points to make in closing. First of all, as you have seen, Pakistani claims about activities that they have undertaken continue to be heavy on lies, misinformation, and propaganda. And on top of that, this is peddled by Pakistani state agencies. The claims that they have made about attacking and destroying various places, various military installations and facilities, as has been pointed out by my colleagues here this morning, are completely false. The claim about the Air Force station in Sirsa being destroyed, completely false, as you've seen. The claim about the Air Force station in Suratgarh being destroyed, completely false again, as you have seen. There's a claim that has been made that the S-400 base at Adampur was destroyed, completely false once again. Claims have been made about large sections of Indian critical infrastructure, power systems, cyber systems, etc. being attacked and destroyed, completely false. I would urge all of you and all those who watch this not to be misled by this tissue of lies that is being peddled by the Pakistani state for obvious purposes. The second point that I wanted to emphasize is that Pakistan continues with its execrable and wanton campaign of targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure, especially in the states of Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. There is also on its part a consistent attempt to sow discord between communities in India. As I said, there has been a particular focus in its targeting of civilian infrastructure and the population in Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. Earlier this morning, Pakistan shelled the town of Rajouri, killing the additional District Development Commissioner Shri Rajkumar Thappa, adding to the civilian casualties and the damage in that state. We have also observed overnight damage to property and injuries to civilians in Firozpur and Jalandhar, among other places. Finally, as I said, Pakistani officials also continue to make ludicrous claims about India firing missiles towards Sri Amritsar Sahib. As I said, these lame attempts to divide India are doomed to failure. We have also seen in some of the remarks that have been shown on television that the Pakistani army spokesman seems to take great joy at the fact that the Indian public should criticize the government of India with regard to various issues. It may be a surprise to Pakistan to see citizens criticizing their own government. That is the hallmark of an open and functioning democracy. Pakistan's unfamiliarity with that, again, should not be surprising. And finally, there is this yet again completely ludicrous claim that Indian missiles have hit Afghanistan. Totally frivolous allegation, and I only want to point out that Afghan people don't need to be reminded about which country it is that has on multiple occasions in just the last 1.5 years targeted civilian populations and civilian infrastructure in Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, as you would have gathered from this morning's briefing, we are dealing with an evolving situation. Accordingly, today we don't have the time to take questions, but we will continue to update you on this situation as we go along. Thank you all very much for joining us this morning.
Well, viewers, that was a very comprehensive press conference there by Mr. Misri and, of course, the two officials of the Indian Armed Forces who have been doing their job diligently day after day. Now, let me just quickly recap for you some of the points that were made before we connect to Siddhant and other reporters who were there at this press briefing. I can tell you that The first big headline that emerges from there is that the Pakistanis are moving their troops into forward areas, which marks on their part, according to Mr. Misri, an attempt to escalate. So let's note that very, very importantly, 8 air bases have been struck by India. Varying degrees of incapacity has been imposed on Pakistan forces in those air bases. They were detailed and they were known and listed like Sargoda, Noor Khan, Murid, Chaklala, Rafiki, Rehmatyar Khan, Sukur, and the Sialkot Aviation Base. All of them targeted, all 8 of them targeted by Indian forces. Viewers, no, of course, comment on the kind of munitions that were used to do this. Also, we have news that 26 localities were targeted overnight, ranging from Srinagar to Nalia, and they were targeted using an array of airborne munitions, including fighter aircraft by Pakistan. That is also what the team has told us, led by FS Misri. Now, lies and propaganda, viewers, is being spewed by Pakistan, and all of that has been negated by the 2 or 3 officers that made that presentation. Lies about offensive successes peddled by the Pakistan state agencies are all lies. Which ones exactly? Well, the fact that they targeted the Sirsa airbase, for example, that looks absolutely spot on. You can see it on your screens. Suratgarh, S-400 base at Adampur, critical power cyber systems, all of these are very much functional, not touched by the Pakistani offensive. Also, civilians have been targeted, and there's been an attempt to sow the seeds of dissension between communities. The news about Sri Amritsar Sahib being targeted in a false flag operation is lies. There are no strikes on Afghanistan, and several high-speed missile attacks have been made by Pakistan in complete violation of all known laws. I want to go straight across to Akash for more on this. Akash, what do you make of this press conference? A lot of details, and I have to say that most of these details, congratulations to you and the others in CNN News 18 getting the information right. The scoops were all right. Yes, go ahead.
2-3 takeaways, Rahul, I want to stress on. First one, the weapons that have been used by Pakistan to target the infrastructure here in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab and in Rajasthan as well. UCAVs were very much used, long-range weapons were very much used, loitering munitions were used, and jets were used. We know that how there are reports that jets were downed, in fact, by the Indian Air Force. We are still waiting for the confirmation. Nothing on that aspect was spoken in the press conference. Also, in the contrary, India used precision weapon, which means that we only targeted the infrastructure that we intended to. And this is the reason why they don't have any civilian population impacted with the sort of strikes that were conducted in retaliation to what they initiated. Also, as far as our country, our places are concerned, so we have seen in Jammu and in fact in Firozpur that how civilian population is targeted. They have targeted one hospital, in fact a nearby hospital was targeted here in Jammu, and we have seen that how they have targeted one temple here in Jammu. Other than that, they are moving their forces in the forward areas. We have been reporting for days now that how there is a movement that has been reported by the intelligence agencies where they have been in fact mobilizing their forces in the forward areas. They are placing their artillery in the villages. It was very much mentioned by Colonel Sophia in the press conference, and she said that Pakistan military is moving its troop in the forward areas with offensive intent to escalate the situation. We have categorically mentioned that we don't want any escalation, and this is the reason why we are not targeting any of your civilian population or your administrative blocks for that matter, but instead you have been targeting not just our military infrastructure but also our civilian population. We have seen that how in Rajouri and Poonch civilian areas were targeted. On LC they have been using howitzers, they have been using these RT guns in fact to target the towns. We know that how in Poonch dynamics are such that in the base we have Indian village, and at the top of the hill we have the Pakistani post. So it is very easy for them to target the civilians, and this is what they are doing for so many days now. In fact, last night firing was happening, and across the LC we have seen that how they have been involved in ceasefire violation. A number of other things were also in fact made very clear as far as our establishment and our assets are concerned. So all assets are safe, and in fact it was categorically mentioned by not just the Foreign Secretary but also by Colonel Sophia and the officer wing commander who was sitting there for the press press briefing. It has been categorically mentioned that whatever they targeted, they got failed in it because our air defense was very much there. Our AD weapons were there, AD guns were there. In fact, we have, made a number of damages to their infrastructure. We know that how a number of their Air Force stations were targeted. And in fact, we have been reporting, Rahul, since morning that how their Noor Khan Air Base, which is, of course, in Chaklala, has been targeted by Indian forces. A precision hit is what has been done by the Indian Armed Forces, and this is the reason why their AD radars and in fact their sensors and the weapons within the Air Force stations have been destroyed. We have been talking about Shorkot Air Base that is in Punjab of Pakistan, and also the Murid Air Base which was targeted. A number of other military infrastructure was targeted by India, but the difference between the Indian strikes and the Pakistani strikes is that India has targeted the exact location where they have their AD systems. On the other hand, they have been targeting our civilian population out of frustration because they have not been successful till now in any sort of attempt that they have tried. Rahul.
Well, let me very quickly, viewers, hold this phone up for you, and we're going to try and focus on some of these pictures. So, viewers, this is one of the air bases that Pakistan says it struck, and you can see that this air base is the AFS Sirsa Air Base. Fully functional. There's a timestamp there, and the timestamp shows 10:48 a.m. So quite clearly, this is why the press conference got a bit delayed, because we were collecting information to ensure that all the fakery would be set aside. So this is one very clear example of Pakistan saying that they've taken out the Sirsa Air Base, but here it is fully functional, cars going in and out, not an issue to report there. Now, viewers, AFS Suratgarh. There you can see, once again, the runway absolutely intact. All the assets intact, runway intact. In fact, this was taken again, and I'm just trying to blow this up here so that one can get an idea, around 10:44 a.m. So at 10:44 a.m. you can see there are fresh tire marks there. This entire airstrip is absolutely functional, not a blemish. Now a long drawn out shot here again of the airbase there. Again, viewers, you can see this is a more panoramic view. Nothing has changed on the ground. There you can see it, viewers. Nothing has changed on the ground. We're going to also put those visuals out for you after treating them properly so you can get a sense of them. This is the propaganda that Pakistan has been spreading, that they've caused extensive damage. All of these pictures are latest within the last 10-15 minutes, viewers, half an hour. In fact, less than half an hour. All of them show that these particular air installations are perfectly okay. So clearly the Pakistanis are harried. They don't quite know what to do, how to do, when to strike. There you can see there's a military truck, there are personnel on the ground. There is not a scratch. There's not a scratch. Maintenance, which is regular maintenance and inspection. There you can see you have some of our assets there. I don't want to focus them too much, but you can see all of them are there. Nothing here which shows that anything untoward has happened. So it's quite clear, viewers, that all of this propaganda by Pakistan has assumed is coming out of desperation, really. Coming out of desperation because they haven't been able to do squat to India. And there is going to be a briefing in the evening, and there's going to be, the phrase is, Sham ko sab batayenge. So questions have been asked, and I'm going to try and get Siddhant on this. Questions have been asked about other interesting details. Akash there also, Aman also there. Aman, the phrase that was used was Sham ko sab batayenge. It's almost as if picture abhi baki hai. There's a lot to tell. Clearly there have been other incursions and other successes by the Indian Army, which for operational reasons which are in continued motion right now can't be divulged. Would you agree with me?
Absolutely, Rahul, and I think the sense which I got from the press conference where I was there inside the Ministry of External Affairs, two things very, very clear. That one, Pakistan is on an escalatory, inflammatory mode. They are trying to provoke India. They have used high-speed missiles at our Air Force stations in Punjab. They are trying to damage us, and this is all happening, Rahul, after Pakistan has secured the IMF bailout last evening. So it is very clear that Pakistan has reserved this provocation only after it got the IMF bailout. So India is essentially also asking the world community that, look, you're putting dollars, in their bank, billions in their bank, and they are firing missiles at us with that very money. So that is one question that India is very clearly asking. to the abroad community. Second question, I think, which was very interestingly, they said that even the Pakistani armed forces, the Pakistani military is mobilizing in big strength on the borders. This shows that their intent is not good. This is also a very, very important, development, because this shows that Pakistan is also trying to put pressure on the LOC, on the international border, by mobilizing its forces.
Okay, some breaking news coming in. Just hold your thoughts. Aman, Marco Rubio has also spoken with Indian External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar, Dr. Jaishankar. There's a conversation that's happened. Secretary Rubio emphasized that both sides need to identify methods to de-escalate and re-establish direct communication to avoid miscalculation. He further proposed US support in facilitating productive discussions to avert future disputes. Well, one of the problems, viewers, is that the United States has facilitated a IMF bailout for Pakistan. So start walking the talk, America. And I want to bring in Aman Sharma on that point. Walk the talk. Don't give us this lecture sermon about de-escalation, nuclear powers, when you are actually rewarding one that is completely out of line.
Absolutely, Rahul, and India is strongly saying that off the record that it is US, which is helped with this IMF bailout to Pakistan. US has a bigger vote because of its economy size at the IMF. It was because of the US, India did abstain, India did register its objection, but it is ultimately the US also has to introspect. And interestingly, Rahul, the US has, Mr. Rubio has called up Mr. Jaishankar here, but who is called up in Pakistan? He's directly called up the Pakistani Army Chief, Asim Munir, because US is also realizing that the real power is not with the political machinery, not with the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, but with the Army Chief. And no, the word I'm getting from inside here, from top government sources also is, US may say what it wants. US can call up Munir, US can call up our foreign minister. India will hit back if we are hit. We will not listen to
let me also bring in Zaka Jacob on this. Zaka, what do you make of this? The Pakistanis wanting us to de-escalate, this, that, the other, but also, of course, playing their own games on the side.
So, Rahul, look, I think the Americans are realizing that both India and Pakistan are, pretty much in conflict now. This is not a low-intensity conflict anymore. This is a full-blooded war. We've had 4 wars in the last 75, 77 years of our history. This is likely going to be the 5th one. It's drones, it's missiles. Now there are long-range missiles. You heard from the press conference a moment ago saying that Pakistan is moving troops to the forward area. So clearly the Americans, and I think Donald Trump has basically told Marco Rubio to be the front person as far as the Trump administration is concerned, to try and engage with both Indian and Pakistani counterparts. So earlier this morning we had the readout from the State Department saying he's spoken with the Chief of Army Staff, General Munir. Now he's spoken with Dr. Jaishankar as well. The other problem, Rahul, is no direct engagement between India and Pakistan. There were some reports about the two NSAs speaking, but of course the steer that we're getting from the Indian side is that we're not necessarily talking, we're in touch, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're talking. One other interesting development is China. The statement that was put out this morning by China asking, I think for the first time, explicitly Pakistan to de-escalate. I think that will have some bearing, some weight on Pakistan as well. But look, I think there are two conflicting factors here. The Americans and the Chinese are now asking very publicly and having almost daily conversations. Certainly Marco Rubio is having multiple conversations every few days with both his Indian and Pakistani colleagues. But at the same time, the conflicting factor is, militarily speaking, both sides are now locked in. They're locked in this escalatory ladder, and if either side needs to come off, then they need to go back and be able to claim to their respective domestic constituencies that, look, this is the win that we have. Otherwise, we seem to be locked in this escalatory ladder. What started off with drones, then progressed to missiles, is now soon going to progress into troop movements, which is already alluded to by Wing Commander Singh in that press conference. The Indian side also is matching the troop movements on our side. So eventually, what you're going to get if both sides don't climb off this escalatory ladder is that you're going to have a ground offensive, and I don't think that's particularly going to be good for either country. Now, look, India is very clear in its position. We didn't start this. The original escalation was Pahalgam, where 26 Indians were segregated by religion and they were killed. India's response has been to Pahalgam, to the original escalation. That's why India carried out Operation Sindoor, after which we gave Asim Munir an off-ramp saying that, look, this is a one-time retaliatory strike. We don't want to escalate this any further. We've not targeted any military installations. But Asim Munir chose to respond and escalate further. So he's now targeted military installations. The press conference there also said that some of the targets certainly were the Air Force stations in Pathankot, in Bathinda, AFS Suratgarh, AFS Sirsa, all of which there is no damage at all. So, countering this Pakistani misinformation. So while India hit terrorist targets, Asim Munir has escalated this to the next rung by targeting military installations. Therefore, India is left with no choice but to defend as well as to retaliate, to respond. So in response, India has hit the Sialkot base station there in Pakistan, also some of these major Air Force stations. The Noor Khan station, for example, is the biggest in Pakistan. It's one of the oldest. It used to be called the Chaklala Air Base. There's a military training college in the middle of that campus. The general headquarters in Rawalpindi is barely a few kilometers there. It's almost an adjoining campus. So these are some real high-profile military targets in Pakistan that the Indian forces have hit. But this is in response. This is in retaliation.
Yes.
So I think we'll have to wait and see, which of these countries, which of these international mediators will have pressure to bear on Pakistan and India.
Just read out
Clearly,
this
look,
statement.
the person that they need to get off the escalatory chain is Asim Munir. He's
Yes,
the guy
the
who's climbing the escalatory chain. He needs to be asked to back off.
It's the hyphenation that actually is a bit disingenuous, because even you've sort of suggested that it was the Pakistanis that were the ones that started all of this from Pahalgam. And when they were given an off-ramp, they didn't take it. We were very clear that our actions on the day one were only targeted at terror infrastructure. They had no business to come through the next night and go about targeting our civilian. Now, let me just read this statement to you because it's very interesting. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, spoke with Indian External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar. Now, let's focus on the words. Secretary Rubio emphasized that both sides need to identify methods to de-escalate and re-establish direct communication to avoid miscalculation. So there is a quick but almost immediate expectation, which is start speaking to each other and first to avoid a miscalculation and then to identify methods to de-escalate. And he further proposed US support in facilitating productive discussions to avert future disputes. Now, there are 2 or 3 ways of looking at it, and I want you to weigh in on this. Number one, is US part of the problem or is it part of the solution? Today we've had off-record briefings from Indian officials who have said that it was most unfortunate that the United States didn't weigh in on the IMF, lean on the IMF to try and stall that loan, because that is what has actually given Pakistan this sort of boost, some sort of confidence lift to go ahead and do what they've done today, which is an escalation.
Absolutely. I think that announcement from the IMF came around midnight, and soon after that, it was like an emboldening signal. It was a signal to not just the Pakistani civilian establishment, but certainly to GHQ in Rawalpindi. All right, you've got the monies you need. It was $2.3 billion. It's not a small amount of money, and that's gone through. So go ahead. So the signaling that they seem to have taken away from that is that, look, the international community is standing with us. The IMF, of course, is controlled by the Western powers. America has 17% weightage there. Anything above 15%, Rahul, is a veto power. So effectively, the United States had veto power in the IMF, and yet they've chosen not to exercise it. And you look at the comments that have been made by President Trump initially, and then J.D. Vance, I think, articulated it. He was here in India when Pahalgam happened, and people were talking about how, this high-profile attack happened timed to his visit here in India. And he says that, look, we're not going to interfere in somebody else's war. It's their business. It's up to them to sort it out. I can't think of a previous US administration that's taken such a hands-offish approach, despite the fact that Mr. Rubio, the Secretary of State, seems to be speaking to both parties every few days. Like I said, this morning he's spoken to the Chief of Army Staff in Pakistan, General Munir. He's also spoken to his counterpart, Dr. Jaishankar, here in Delhi. And the one thing that stood out for me was Secretary Rubio emphasized that both sides need to identify methods to de-escalate and re-establish direct communication. This is the other problem. Even in 2019 Balakot, when the Pulwama Balakot escalation happened, there was direct negotiations happening between the NSAs, the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and his then counterpart. Right now, there is no direct negotiation happening, and I think that is one part of the problem. There were some suggestions that the two NSAs, the new NSA of Pakistan, who also happens to be the DGISI, there's been some conversation between Mr. Doval and him, but Indian government sources have said that they're in touch, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are talking. So I think you have a situation where you have this deranged military general who seems to be, wanting to really send his country down to the gutters. And at the same time, you're giving him off ramp after off ramp. He's not willing to take it, and there is no communication directly between both parties concerned. I think the military reality on the ground is we are locked on this escalation ladder. Munir does not want to take an off ramp. India does not have a choice but to be seen as responding to each.
What struck me above and beyond, of course, the Akash, you're on air actually. What struck me really about this statement, and of course, just prior to this statement, the telephone call or whatever they did to reach out to the general. Now that is important, viewers, because it tells you that America knows only the general is actually in control. Now, whether the general wants to be formally in control, we don't know, but certainly motivated by some sort of personal idea of personal gain, some sense of self-aggrandizement, he went and gave the green signal to conduct Pahalgam. And that has led really to this escalation to the point where the world is now waking up to a situation where troops are moving to forward areas, and we are seeing the kind of visible scenes of destruction in Pakistan that are being relayed almost live to us. Now, I want to also, Zach, just stay on with me. I just want to quickly bring in Aman, as well as, of course, Akash on this. Aman, very quickly, there seems to have been a predetermination on the Indian side. After Pahalgam, we're just going to shut down all visible communication doors. Now, I don't know what is happening Backchannel. One Pakistani minister came out, and Zach, you were privy to this, you saw that on air, saying that, no, there have been contacts between the NSAs. I don't know. First of all, do you actually lay, Zach, I'm asking you this, do you believe that there was some sort of a back channel that has been opened? NSA Doval, of course, talking about him, he's just leaving the Prime Minister's residence. So what do you make of that?
Well, Rahul, I think...
no, one second. I was just bringing in Zach on that, and I want to bring you on to the larger question. Yes, Zach, go ahead.
Just very quickly to your point, the very next day, there was a steer that came from the Indian government that, look, they're in touch, the two NSAs, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're talking. So I don't think they're talking. I don't think there is direct communication, because if there was, there wouldn't be a need for the US State Department readout that just came out, Marco Rubio's conversation with Dr. Jaishankar, asking both sides to have direct communication. So that's the other part of the problem. There isn't a direct communication that's happening right now.
That's an important observation, actually. Yes, if you really read between the lines, that's really the implication, isn't it, viewers? Now, we don't know if this was a predetermined decision. I just want to quickly bring in both Aman, and I also want to bring in Arun Dhanta, I think. He's the one who's outside there, outside 7 LKM. Arun, first to you very quickly, that meeting over between the NSA and the Prime Minister has gone on for quite a bit of time, actually. It's gone on for about 1.5 hours, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even longer.
That's right, Rahul. 1 hour, 20 minutes. The meeting lasted here at Prime Minister Modi's residence, and NSA, of course, we know that, in fact, yesterday he was here at Prime Minister's house for 5 hours, and he was part of every other meeting that happened here, either with Rajnath Singh and the 3 service chief, and then RAW and IB chief, and then finally with the External Affairs Minister and the Foreign Secretary. And today, when, of course, we are seeing at Rajnath Singh's house, CDS Anil Chauhan is meeting him. They are assessing situation there. You have 3 tri-services chief in the war room in South Block, and here NSA meeting Prime Minister Modi, and of course briefing about the current situation and how majorly India's response has been against Pakistan, and that has, of course, amply been made clear by the Foreign Secretary in that press conference, that their responses have been measured, calculative, and no civilians were targeted by them. So I think at this point in time, when India is giving brute response to Pakistan at different locations, this meeting between Prime Minister Modi and NSA Ajit Doval is very important.
Sure.
And in some time,
and I want to bring in,
expecting that perhaps.
Yes, we are going to have a second briefing by the MEA. So, and they've said that they're going to let things. They're going to talk in more detail. And Aman, you were, of course, privy to that. And I want to also bring in you on this point. The NSA meeting the Prime Minister is also to look at perhaps What else can be done at the sub-threshold level, sub-nuclear threshold level, which doesn't lead to a conventional all-out war, but remains a low-intensity conflict where you are still being able to punish Pakistan? And I think that part of this comes from this predetermined sort of outlook after Pahalgam, that look, we are not interested now in interlocuting, we are only interested in imposing costs. That's really what it is. And what is the cost that India will be happy with imposing upon Pakistan, which could serve as a deterrence, is the main question, isn't it?
See, Rahul, I think the Indian standpoint is very clear. The original escalation was by Pakistan in Pahalgam and by Operation Sindoor, where we targeted the terror headquarters of Jaish, Lashkar and the Hizbul amongst the 9 locations. That was the answer of India to finish off Pakistan's terror tap for good. That was India's intention, and for India, larger point of that objective was complete with Operation Sindoor. That's what India is very clear. We didn't attack any military infrastructure. But since then, since May 7, just look at what has happened. May 8th, May 9th, we have seen these swarms of drones coming from Pakistan, targeting our civilian population in cities like Jammu, right from Leh to Sir Creek. And now they've escalated it to missiles, high-speed missiles targeting our military installations, trying to target our Air Force stations and Air Force bases. This India sees is a provocative and deliberate escalation by Pakistan. This is very clear. And the word I'm getting from top government sources is that if they will hit us, we will hit back. We don't care what the US says. We don't care what the world says. If India is hit, India is going to hit back with double the force. And that is what we have seen last night in the airbase of Rawalpindi or the other air bases that India has listed out where it has inflicted damage. India is very clear with that. Also, I think very significant, Rahul, is that the earlier call of Mr. Rubio, the Secretary of State, was to the Pakistani Prime Minister a few days back. That was when things were normal. Pakistan had not, begun its retaliation. But now the US calling up directly Asim Munir, Mr. Rubio speaking to Asim Munir, shows that the Pakistani political establishment, the Prime Minister, is not in control, it seems, of the military strikes. It is Mr. Munir who is on his own agenda to escalate the situation. India is also very clear about it, that it was clear from the start to India that it is Munir who started Pahalgam and who is behind all this. And that is why I think we are seeing India's response is very clear inside, Rahul, inside the top government offices, that India is going to strike back double hard if Pakistan does a strike on India. Yes, we are not escalatory in nature. We are a measured response, but India will not wait if Pakistan is going to do such measures like rain high-speed missiles on our air bases. That is deliberate, almost an act of war by Pakistan, and India will not tolerate it.
Yes, the trouble is that the Pakistanis are not taking the off-ramp, and I want to go across to Siddhant on this point. Siddhant, look, if India has to begin to heed the advice that is being dished out by the Americans, both countries need an off-ramp now. If luckily for us, the Pakistanis have only saber-rattled, but haven't inflicted any damage. On the other side, we've inflicted damage. It's visible damage. From day one, we took out their terror assets, we've hit their terror infrastructure, now we are bleeding their military infrastructure and they haven't done anything, and the pictures on our screens are telling us that they're spreading lies. So, second off-ramp has not been taken by General Munir. And I have to ask you, the conversation in government now must be, how much punishment is enough? And Akash also joins me, and I'm going to bring him into this. What is enough? What is the point where the Indians will be satisfied that Pakistan will say, nahi, ab agli dafa India ko nahi marna hame, kisi bhi tarike se, kuch bhi karke. We don't want to do this business of cutting, using all sorts of extremists, this low subcutaneous sort of subliminal war that we have been waging. What is that point now?
Well, Rahul, the larger, the core of this military strike, in fact, on terror camps was perhaps to establish deterrence. And in fact, now what I could read after, what I could understand after speaking to my sources in the government, and in fact, I'm being told that India will apply policy of tit-for-tat. If they will hit us, we will hit them back. And this has been told to me by a very senior officer. And in fact, he very clearly said in a layman's language that if they will hit us, we will hit them back. It will be tit for tat. Point number one. Point number two, also Rahul, look at the general, if you look at the pattern in which Operation Sindoor briefings are taking place. India is not asking the generals to go and do the press conference like the Pakistanis are doing. Our press conference is being done by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri and two of the young lady officers of the forces. Perhaps it again shows that in India, diplomacy is something which perhaps India, which should be the first path. Okay, and that is a very strong message which India is still sending out, despite so many so many times attack being done by Pakistani side. That India still believes in diplomacy. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is doing press conference. It signifies, it shows that as well. At the same time, today's press conference was also about how Pakistan, since has already lost many battles to India, is now into spreading lies and misinformation.
Yes.
In fact, now what they're doing is that they are into cyber warfare. They are
not even that, not even effectively, because even that has been sort of checked by the PIB. Stay on with me, Siddhant. I just want to quickly bring in Akash also, very importantly. Akash, there is now a confirmation that we have struck their bases, but more importantly that Pakistan is moving troops into the forward area with all intentions of ramping up. So this is what has been said by Vikram Misri. Also, there has been talk that we have been able to successfully thwart a large amount of their military capacity. Can you elaborate on these 2 points and what exactly is meant by when the officials there said there's going to be a lot more we will discuss in the afternoon? What are they hinting at? What's this about?
The operation is still on, Rahul. That's the reason why they said that, they will have much more to offer in the evening. And I'll not go into specifics because of the fact that these are ongoing operations. But Rahul, you see, by definition, it is not yet a war, but a conflict. However, the actions that we are seeing from Pakistan, be it using UCAVs or, these high-speed missiles, ballistic missiles or the jets, these actions are somewhere indicating that, they want escalation, further escalation to war. They have been moving their troops to the forward areas. We know that how they have moved their artillery to the civilian population so that, they can fire their artillery from that particular village where they have residents living. And if India will retaliate, so they can show to the world that how India is targeting their civilian population. Now, this is an era where, social media plays an important role. And since morning, we have been seeing the narrative, how they have been propagating theories that they have destroyed S-400, they have destroyed several jets, and they have destroyed several military stations and AD systems and radars. This is possibly for two reasons. First one, they want to send a message to the civilians, possibly want to target the morale of the forces, men on ground. But this is not going to happen, Rahul. It has been made very clear. And since morning, we have been seeing that how PIB has been rebutting, all these allegations, claims, and in fact the narratives that are going, on social media. As far as this particular time is concerned, Rahul, I'm standing in Jammu, and in Jammu, recently one drone was, sighted and in fact has been destroyed. In fact, I cannot show in the air right now. I'll not in fact show the live operations. But then, in Jammu, it is still happening. They are still attempting, several places. And this is the reason why, it has been said that by this evening, we'll give you some more details of the kind of activities that Pakistan is involved in and also the sort of retaliation that is going from India. Till now, it is a measured retaliation, but people have been demanding that there should be some decisive action against Pakistan. Now it will be important to see as to how armed forces are reacting to the sort of activities that have been happening since last night. Later in the evening, yesterday, we saw that how it started with a ceasefire violation in Uri and Kupwara, and then, they started targeting Jammu, in fact, Amritsar, Pathankot, and a number of other, Air Force stations. Now, since they are not successful. They have been changing their weapons. They initially tried it with drones. Yesterday we saw that how they sent empty drones without explosives, possibly to see the capabilities, possibly to check the sort of systems that we are employing for the air defense. And today they have sent the ballistic missiles. We have reports that they targeted, in fact, the locations in Delhi, and in fact this attempt was thwarted. But once again, it has been made very clear, we have not disturbed you ever. You were the one, who sent the, terrorists in Pahalgam and carried out that sort of attack where 26 of our tourists were killed.
Absolutely.
We have only taken action against the terrorists, who have carried out this sort of attack where we have lost our civilians. In fact, we waited for some sort of action that we were anticipating from your side, but you did not take any action against those terrorists who were there on ground, on your ground. And that's the reason why, Indian Armed Forces carried out precision strikes on 7th of May, where they only targeted these infrastructures where we had credible input that these terrorists have been living, their families have been living, and in fact these are the training camps and not the infrastructures, not just the infrastructures. Also, as far as the actions after that, we have seen that how India mentioned categorically that we don't want any escalation, we are not going to target your military infrastructure, we are not going to open fire on LC, we are not going to, in fact, we had no movement, in the forward areas. You must be remembering we were getting videos from Pakistan that how they have been mobilizing their troops, they have been sending their artillery, in fact, in a number of areas. But we did not have any movement at all because we did not, want war. But now it seems that whatever Pakistan is doing is escalatory in nature, Rahul.
Escalatory in nature, but India has also said that, look, we have continued to give Pakistan the off-ramp. We have continued to focus on military infrastructure. We are not targeting like the immature, petulant, and obviously invidious, evil-minded Pakistani military establishment that is targeting our civilians with all sorts of motives. Now, here it is, viewers. This is Sargodha Air Base that was targeted, and you can see the plumes of smoke. A large number of people in Pakistan gathered, watching in absolute shock and awe at India's audacity. Look at this. This is a precision strike on a military and minimum collateral damage. That is what we've been told this morning. Minimum collateral damage. Let's have a look at the Shekhupura district. This is a drone impact on Lahore. This is not, of course, an airbase, but in Lahore, the streets, these people are talking about the actions that they have witnessed from the Indian military. And they are completely in a state of shock. There is a huge swath of fire on the horizon, lighting up that horizon in Lahore, Shekhupura. Let's have a look at the next. Here it is, Pindi, viewers. That's the base, the Pindi base. This is really the heart of the military establishment. You can't get any closer to the general headquarters. Munir must be sitting and quaking in his boots right now because this is Pindi. Look at that massive cloud up there and that huge spark of light lighting up the entire sky. This has happened in the dead of the night, but look at the bright lights because it's a massive explosion. Noor Khan Air Base on fire. We've been told that it is massively impacted. We're going to go across to our guests now to get a bit of a sense of what really India has done, what is the motive behind it, what it means for Pakistan as far as degradation is concerned. And of course, there'll also be Brahmacharani because we're going to talk a little bit. And this is Narawal, viewers. Look at the horizon. Look at the extent. This is a massive strike on military infrastructure, hobbling Pakistan as we speak. Hobbling Pakistan to the point where they're going to have a few problems, viewers, responding. And we've got Pakistan where we want them. What can we do next? Those are the fundamental questions. Tilak Devasher, let me bring you on this as well as Brahmacharani. Important conversation this morning. You've heard the press briefing. You're up to speed with all the details. So Tilak Devasher, first of all, what has India tried to do with these military targets? What was the intent behind this? Why are we targeted these specific bases, etc.? I think you're on mute, sir. I can't quite hear you. If you could just unmute yourself. Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, there you go.
You remember on your show last night, we were talking about India's response and being proportionate and responsible. I think last night India did get back and hit Pakistan in response to what they were doing. So you've had attacks on these various military bases. And I'm glad that this was done because, you are now telling Pakistan, the message you're conveying to Pakistan is that enough is enough, that you're going to continue on this path, then you better be prepared to face the wrath of India. Second, two other points I'd like to make, Rahul. One is that Shehbaz Sharif has called for a meeting of the National Command Authority. Now, National Command Authority is the apex body that talks about the nuclear policy and all the matters relating to the nuclear policy of Pakistan. I don't think so. This is a very serious move. I think this is just to show the world that things are getting out of hand and that you had better escalate. But this is something that India needs to watch very carefully what happens in that meeting of the National Command Authority. Second, if you read between the lines of the US statement by Secretary Rubio, I think what he's doing is giving you a free hand. Rather than weighing in on India's side, I think they're telling you that, look, do whatever you have to do and sort it out amongst yourself. I think I would look at it in that frame of mind rather than saying that the US did not weigh in on India. I think India is pretty competent. They also realize competent to deal with Pakistan on their own. So whatever they have to do, they will do. So long as I think there are no boots on the ground and so long as there is not, you go up the escalatory ladder to a stage where you escalate up to the nuclear point, I don't think so the US or China are going to get too excited.
Devasher, the foreign minister has just responded, Dr. Jaishankar. He said, I had a conversation with the US Secretary Rubio this morning. India's approach has always been measured and responsible and remains so. So it does two lines put out there. What do you make of this response?
What else can he say?
Yes.
He's going to say exactly that.
Yes.
It's just a measured response to what Pakistan is doing. But Pakistan has gone up the escalatory ladder. There was a report that they fired a missile at Delhi, at the National Capital Region. Now, if that is not a major escalation, then what is an escalation? I mean, Pakistan is willing to risk attacking your capital. Fortunately, we were able to disable it to make sure before it hit Delhi. But what if it had hit Delhi? And how do you know it's an armed conventional or is it a nuclear armed missile? So Pakistan is testing the limits of India's patience, and therefore any response henceforth will be measured, but that measure will also go up several notches.
Well, again, since you're talking about that, let me report two other developments. Sirens on in Jammu and another explosion heard in Srinagar. So let's just hope that everyone is out of harm's way. Akash joining us for more on these details. Ishan Wani reporting another explosion heard in Srinagar. Akash, the sirens in Jammu and the explosion heard in Srinagar. Yes.
Yes, we have been hearing the sirens. In fact, I'll try to give you some natural ambience. There you have the sirens. And, these sirens are on since just a while back. We heard the AD gun sound destroying, one drone. And I was, in fact, reporting that, Rahul. In fact, in Srinagar, we have been, hearing about similar activities. So it seems like Pakistan is still not, letting its
big
men
news coming in,
rest from the
Akash.
sort of
Big news
activities
coming
that they
in.
have.
First phone call between India and Pakistan. The DGMOs are talking. Now, just break this down for us. DGMOs talking. What does this mean?
Yes, Director General Military Operations. We have seen that how their offices connected last Tuesday. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that one hotline connection has been established, in fact, today. And Pakistan wants de-escalation. This is a big news coming in fact, Rahul. Pakistan wants de-escalation. Situation is, in fact, bad in the country and Pakistan wants to meet Indian side. This was the connection between the DGMOs on both the sides and they have spoken on hotline. DGMO, remember, is someone who takes care of the operation of the military on both sides, and we have been given to understand that DGMO is connected from both the sides.
Well,
and Pakistan
right now I have to go across
de-escalation.
Okay, just 1 second, because we only have him for 10 minutes apparently, and I've been asked to go straight across to the father of Daniel Pearl. Daniel Pearl, we have to go across to Jude Pearl. I'm being told that we only have him for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, viewers, but in the middle of this breaking news, I have to go across to Jude Pearl, I'm told. Jude Pearl, your reactions really to the Indian strike, taking out the brother of Masood Azhar, a person directly connected with the incident involving your son.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, Mr. Jude Pearl.
Oh, I can hardly hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the question was what my reaction is. I am, of course, very delighted that the issues of my son has come to the attention of the media and the general public, because it has been almost forgotten. And what was forgotten is the fact that the people responsible for his murder have not been brought to justice. So I'm glad that at least the person who was indirectly connected with his abduction was killed. I'm not sure that he was killed, actually. I haven't seen any confirmation from the Pakistani side that Azhar was killed. But I trust the Indian intelligence to verify that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jude Pearl, for speaking with us. Thank you very much. We'll just come back to you in just a short while. There has been a huge development here in India, viewers. Let's go back to that big story. I want to go straight back to Siddhant. News coming out that nervous Pakistan is seeming to wave the white flag. Can we remove the Jude, yes, the Pearl visuals? Yes, there you go. There you go, Siddhant.
Well, yes, that's right, Rahul. In fact, this is what Manoj Gupta is bringing for us, this piece of information that Pakistan wants to de-escalate. Rahul, situation is bad in Pakistan. Pakistan wants to meet Indian side. In fact, first communication between the two countries have been established. Communication has been established. This is what Manoj Gupta is bringing for us. First direct talk has taken place between India and Pakistan since the escalation. This is a DGMO level talks. Perhaps a very big piece of breaking input we are putting out for our viewers, and in fact this has been brought to us by investigation editor Manoj Gupta, and in fact he has got this confirmation that there has been a direct contact which has been established by Pakistan with India. Pakistan wants to de-escalate. Now they don't want to further escalate the situation. Perhaps, Rahul, this development is also happening after Secretary Rubio speaking directly to Asim Munir this morning. And in fact, we were reporting that how that particular call was only to tell Asim Munir directly that, look, better de-escalate or face the consequences. And now we are getting to know that Pakistan has reached out to India, and in fact, first DGMO level communication has been established. Pakistan wants to de-escalate. Situation is bad in the country. Their own people are not liking that in these times when there is the economy is in doldrums. Pakistan is going all out on war with India, and this is one of the reasons that Manoj Gupta is telling us that Pakistan has reached out to us. First DGMO level communication has been established between the two sides. A very, very important piece of input.
Okay, let me bring in Akash. Let me bring in Akash on this point. We also have, of course, Tilak Devashare, and we also have Brahmacharani with us to put this into perspective. But Akash, yes, over to you. This is big news, very big news.
It is big, in fact, for the first time when DGMOs have connected, because till now only officers were getting connected where the colonel rank or brigadier rank officers were talking to each other. But this time around, we are learning that Director General of Military Operations on both the sides have connected via hotline, and Manoj Gupta, has been bringing this input for us, where he is suggesting that Pakistan, wants de-escalation. In fact, there are bad conditions there in the country, and that's the reason why they want to meet the Indian side. possibly, meeting would happen very soon because DGMOs have somewhere talked to each other. Rahul, just one context, back in 2021, when there was a constant ceasefire violations on the LC, even at that time, DGMOs played an important role, and it was February 2021 when there was a DGMO level understanding for ceasefire. And since then, we were not seeing any sort of escalation on the borders. Once again, when things were getting escalated, it seems that DGMOs have connected and Pakistan wants de-escalation. This is indeed a big development that Manoj Gupta has been bringing to us. And, in fact, what was the sort of issues that were discussed? One meeting was the core agenda. We have been told that, they wanted to meet. And since this was a hotline communication, so of course, not many things were discussed, but definitely Pakistan wants a de-escalation. This has been clearly indicated, and in fact sources have been suggesting this to Manoj Gupta, that how Pakistani DGMO and in fact the Indian DGMO connected on hotline and they discussed the current scenario, and Pakistan wants de-escalation, Rahul.
De-escalation is the buzzword right now. This is very, very interesting news, viewers. Yes, Pakistan has been punished. We've shown you those pictures, and I'm going to ask our director Saab to show those pictures of Pakistan being eviscerated. We'll also have confirmation, and not contested, because this has been confirmed by DG ISPR that they have been attacked on their air bases, viewers. Don't forget this. This is confirmation that came this morning from DG ISPR. He looked glum. His face was small, shrunken. His cheeks were shrunken, he looked petrified, and we have struck really in Rawalpindi. In Rawalpindi, viewers, that's where General Munir sits, and therefore he picked up that phone from Rubio almost immediately, because he realized that his time is up. His time is up. And I want to bring in Siddhant. Siddhant, the compulsions here weighing on the Pak Army Chief are great. He is leading his country into a massive misadventure. He doesn't have the public support. He doesn't have political support. This man is completely in it for himself, and he realizes he's made a grave error of judgment.
Well, that's right, Rahul. And in fact, he heard it from Americans this morning. This is what I have been told. And since a very long time, Rahul, he was looking for this opportunity. Asim Munir was looking for this opportunity. In fact, there is a direct link between his speech given at Pakistani diaspora event, perhaps where he said that the both countries were divided on the religious lines, and perhaps right after that, Pahalgam took place, where the people were singled out on the basis of religion and killed. So there is direct linkage between the two. In fact, the same was highlighted by Foreign Secretary also on the very first day of his press briefing. So Asim Munir is the mastermind of Pahalgam terror attack, and perhaps he is calling the shots in Pakistan, and Americans know it very well. And this is the reason that last time when Rubio spoke, he spoke to Shehbaz Sharif, but nothing happened, because Americans also understood that Shehbaz Sharif is a puppet. Nobody will listen to him. So today this call was made. This call directly to a army chief, perhaps, Rahul, is a very big thing. American Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, will never talk to a counterpart who is much below to him
And why is all of this happening, viewers? Siddhant, stay on with me. Why is all of this happening? Because we're getting inputs left, right and center now. Viewers, we are completely on the front foot here, and we're getting inputs that ADG PI has put out a statement of the Indian Army saying that Indian Army pulverizes terrorist launch pads. Their entire auxiliary infrastructure has been absolutely eviscerated as a response to Pakistan's misadventures of attempted drone strikes on the night of 08 and 09 May 2025 in multiple cities of Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. The Indian Army conducted a coordinated fire assault on terrorist launch pads, pulverizing and raising them to cinders. The terrorist launch pads located close to the line of control were a hub for planning and executing terror attacks against Indian civilians and security forces in the past. The Indian Army's swift and decisive action has dealt a significant blow to terrorist infrastructure and capabilities. All of these details, viewers, being put out now by the ADGPI, and that were put out in about 10 minutes back. Massive views. All the photographs of that action are here. This is how it's gone up, viewers, on the LOC. They are taking them out one by one. Those are our forces using their munitions, and you can see them in their bunkers, winding it all up and releasing these grenade launchers, all sorts of other munitions. Viewers, I'm not going to go into the munitions, but they've been put out there for the world to see. There you can see it, pulverizing the living daylights out of Pakistan, its proxies. It is complete focus, it is clinical, and it is absolutely debilitatory. Pakistan falling apart. And if they are pushing troops to the front lines, viewers, it allows us to engage at the front lines and even alter the LOC. Remember, even that can be done. So you can see these pictures. This is a video that has been put out. This is a relay of all the action that has been taking place. It is a complete newsreel, one after the other, and Indian soldiers showing the victory sign, flashing the victory sign there, viewers. They're doing this in every video. They are completely blowing the Pakistanis out of their bunkers, smoking them out. This is what India has brought to the table. It is brought to the table not just at the LOC, but on Pakistan soil. 8 bases flattened, viewers, we are being told. Massive punishment being inflicted on the body of Pakistan. The body politic, the mind, scarring the mind. The public is out on the streets, shocked, seeing their country in flames. Look at those pictures, viewers. That's Rawalpindi. That is where the Pakistani army sits and plots evilly against India. Today, they are not safe in their cribs. They are not safe there, viewers. Look at that, Rawalpindi in flames, ball of flames lighting up the sky. Noor Khan Air Base flattened. Those are the pictures, viewers. Video released by the ADGPI 10 minutes ago. Look at these pictures. The Indian Army clinical, bashing the brains out of Pakistan's terror and, of course, BAT, as well as their forward positions. There you can see them, viewers, completely. And after each one of those attacks, a victory sign. You can see them going up one by one. This could be out of Rambo, viewers. This is not a movie. This is absolute real life. Fact is always stranger than fiction. It is more compelling than fiction. This is what it's looking like right now for India. Pakistan blown out, pushed back, mentally scarred, physically debilitated, and worse, viewers, militarily on the back foot, thwarted, defanged. They don't know what to do. They've tried everything. Now, the deranged leadership is trying to play the nuclear card. The National Command Authority is being summoned. They're doing what they always do. Hold a gun to their heads to negotiate, get the world to pay attention, say, come, still India's hand, help us. It's a cry for help. Let me go across to, I think we're supposed to go across to Siddhant, right? To go back to Siddhant. Okay, we don't have a reporter right now. Colonel Kohli joins us live. Colonel Kohli, this is a complete annihilation, isn't it?
Good morning, Rahul. I'm Lieutenant General Kohli. Anyway,
sorry, General Kohli.
No, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sorry about that.
Absolutely okay.
Kohli. Yes.
This was expected, Rahul. This was expected. They do not have the capacity and the wherewithal to fight. It was known to them also, but they had been showing bravado so far. And yesterday, the boost which they got through IMF, $2.3 billion which they got, which they started, and they were. That time also, in fact, yesterday I was on a TV, I was mentioning this only. They knew that they will get us on the negotiation table through American pressure or through somebody else. And before that, they wanted to achieve something so that they could show to their population that they have also been able to do something. So, though their attempts have failed, even they attempted today missile at Delhi, which was also failed. But now they are seeing the future because they do not have. Their ammunition is less, their economy is less. You know what economic conditions are. So
Absolutely.
What this 2.3 billion has been given, how long will it last? 15 plus 2.3. You see, we have 660 billion if you talk of the forex what we have. So they do not have the capacity. But at the same time, Rahul, I wish to say, we should not let go of this opportunity. Today, conditions are very good for us. In the past, if you see these many 70 years, 4 wars we have fought with them, we have allowed them to go away. In 71, these many prisoners were given, Haji Pir Pass was given in 65. We should make use of the situation what is there today. We must achieve something and sort of inflict on them deterrent punishment so that they don't do this kind of thing in future. Because any kind of peace treaty with them will have no meaning. It will last only for few years, few months only. Once
Okay, let me bring in Professor Nalapat. Good morning, Professor. Good afternoon, rather. 5 minutes past noon. And we have Pakistan leaning against the ropes. Their air bases flattened, their forward positions pulverized. I'm not saying it, the ADGPI is saying it. I'm not saying it, the MEA is saying it. This is a complete humiliation, a defanging of Pakistan. It's happening at the behest of the Prime Minister of India. We are teaching them a lesson. We are establishing deterrence. We are also being told now that nervous Pakistan is seeking a meeting with India. It's willing to throw in the white towel. We've got them where we want them, Professor Nalapat. What should we do?
We haven't got them, Rahul. The fact is that they always do this. Whenever they are down, they want to resist a knockout blow, which will come soon. And then they say, well, now I'm down. Now I'll come back up. And then they swear everlasting peace. That peace usually lasts for only a few weeks.
Yes.
If it's not that long.
General Kohli is saying the same thing. Yeah.
A bunch of cheats,
Yes.
a bunch of liars, and they are hardwired to hate India. The GHQ Rawalpindi is hardwired to hate India. The colonel knows full well the unique chemistry that they have. They genuinely believe that Hindus and Muslims are two different species. They have invented a new form of biology. So what they're looking for, they know they're on the ropes. They are on the ropes. They want to avoid a knockout blow. The point is, this is not the time for any kind of leniency. You have to give that knockout blow. And in the meantime, whatever devices they have for interception, whatever devices they have for finding out what is coming at them, these devices need to be put out of commission. Pakistan needs to be rendered completely defenseless. We have the means. I'm sorry to say that the United States doesn't seem to understand. It's a war between Terroristan and India. But I'm sure that people are going to reach out to the MAGA community in the US, and they're going to understand that very soon, that their president is wrong, their establishment is wrong, that is India which is fighting terror. And when you want to fight the global war on terror, this is the most important front. And Pakistan is the facilitator of terror. Hamas, Hezbollah, you name the organization. There are Pakistani trainers working there, retired or serving. And again, this is well known. So the reality is, this is not the time to let go.
So, Professor, I want to ask you, because Pakistan is convening this meeting. First of all, Mark Rubio calls not the Prime Minister, he calls the General Munir, number one, which tells you that Munir perhaps did all of this because he wants to consolidate power, perhaps even go in for a coup and install himself as the real leader of Pakistan, come out of the shadows, so to speak, number one. Number two, the National Command Authority has been summoned by the Prime Minister. What does all this mean?
It means nothing. It means hot air, frankly. The reality is the nuclear button cannot be pressed. You remember some decades ago, there was a big hoo-ha. Again, the Americans got very alarmed. Oh my God, nuclear conflict. And the reality, and I wrote at that point in time, there'll never be a nuclear conflict. Pakistan knows very well that you might eliminate quite a lot of Indians, but nowhere close to. We will eliminate practically the whole of Pakistan if that happens, and the whole region will be affected. So they are irrational, but they're not madcaps. The Nuclear Command Authority thing is a farce. It's not meant for India. We know the truth. It's meant for the United States. And Marco Rubio, frankly, doesn't know what is happening. He has been misbriefed. He doesn't understand this situation. He doesn't understand the Pakistan army. He better bone up. And he better, because Rubio studied China, he better understand Chinese tactics. Pakistan has become a Chinese proxy. Just when Apple and Google and others were shifting from China and relocating to India, you have Pahalgam. Is that a coincidence? Of course not. The Chinese are terrified that India will, with the decoupling that takes place in China, which I regard as inevitable. You may have coziness, you may have trade talks, but the fundamental interests are divergent, and the US and China will decouple. In that situation, the US needs India. Marco Rubio needs to look at China and its connections with Pakistan.
Now-
and then you understand what we are facing.
Now, Professor Nalapat, I want you to, you're a foremost analyst, so I want you to tell me, what really has India achieved by going in there and knocking out some of these air bases? What was the thinking? We'd also ask the General that question, General Kohli. I'll bring him in too. But Professor, your thinking about the targets. Now, if you're going and attacking the Pakistani military in Rawalpindi, you're basically telling them that we've got you by the scruff of the neck. It's only a matter of turning our guns in your direction. And Munir, you can be wherever you are, but you're not safe.
Rahul, please understand that these gentlemen do not believe India was capable of this kind of a completely comprehensive response. They regard, I'm sorry to use religious terms, I've never believed in religious differentiation. I've always believed in all faiths living peaceably. But they honestly believe the Hindu is some kind of an inferior species. The Hindu cannot fight back. The Hindu is the only mammal in the world without a backbone. They honestly believe that. From the time you look at school textbooks in Pakistan, you look at school textbooks, there you're taught to have contempt for the Hindu, to despise the Hindu, and the primary rule of wartime is never underestimate your enemy. The fact is, we are Homo sapiens. They have a backbone, a pretty weak now. We have a backbone, but the point is, Rahul, they are economically very vulnerable. They are on the ropes economically as well. And they will go under if this lasts for more than, I would say, about 2 weeks. The Pakistan economy will collapse like a house of cards. And all those people in the IMF who voted, we need to out them. We need to put their images out. We need to show who they are, because these people will have blood on their hands. They are funding a terror machine. They are not funding the civilian government. Shahbaz Sharif is a paper cutout. He has no authority, nothing. And Munir is the madcap who made Pahalgam happen, believing, oh, ye Hindu hai. Hindu kya karega? Arey, kuch nahi karega. Ek do yahan, hum 2-3 thapad laega, khatam ho jayega. I am sorry to say, over the decades, we proved Munir right. But not this time. Not under this Prime Minister. Not the Indian people today. We are different from the Indian people of some time, decades ago. The Indian people of today are saying enough is enough. Let's put an end to this situation once and for all. And we have them, as you correctly said, on the ropes. So now they want to second wind. They want to again recover and recoup. Do you think Israel is going to allow Hamas a second wing, Hezbollah a second wing, the IRGC a second wing? Of course not. The Israelis made a big mistake in tolerating Hamas for so long. We made a big mistake in tolerating this terror machine for so long. But the fact is, Rahul, they have a distorted view of India.
Yes.
And that view blinds them to reality, that this is a resolute, resilient people with a resolute, resilient leadership under Prime Minister Modi, and we have enough, domestic talent to have produced some of the finest weapons which are now being deployed in combat.
Yes,
and
we've really come to this, haven't we? Very well prepared. Over the last 10 years, since 2014, we've been thinking this through. Yes, there has been a huge amount, viewers, and you have to now go back to those conversations. Those people who printed in their newspapers reports about how the Rafale, this, that, the other was not up to it, how we shouldn't be buying it, how this is a big scam. All of that was happening, Professor, if you remember. At every stage, Modi was being opposed. When he talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat and the investment in defense, people laughed at him. Today, he's having the last laugh. And also, I want you to weigh in on this because this is very important. The one person who's changed strategic thinking is Ajit Doval. It's quite clear. Ajit Doval is the man who's having his moment, he's having his revenge. He was the IB director in IC 814 times, if you remember, 1999. We all covered it. And at that time, he was actually implicated as being the one who came up with this soft strategy of going out there and exchanging terrorists for hostages, and he wasn't, it later turned out, was wrongly blamed. So he's been waiting for his moment. He's got his moment. He has been the prime orchestrator of this strategic new recalibration in Indian thinking. Would you agree, sir?
Well, I'll tell you that the one person who understands India very well is Ajit Doval. There's no question about it. The man understands Pakistan as well, and he understands Pakistan like the palm of his hand. So there's no question that he knows the psychology of that country, and there's no question that he would have advised the Prime Minister. But the fact is, we have a very determined leader. Minister, but he worked under Narasimha Rao. If he had worked under some other leader, maybe he would have been a flop as finance minister. But the reality is, Ajit Doval has got the perfect leader for him. And that's why he is working so beautifully. And because we have Prime Minister Modi, we have a resolute Prime Minister, we have a resilient people, we have a glorious armed forces. What are we waiting for, Rahul? Let's end this menace of cross-border terrorism once and for all.
India wants, viewers. That's what India wants. And I want to bring in General Kohli. Stay on with me, Professor Nalapat. Professor Nalapat, top of his game, as always, viewers. As always, giving you insight. He's incisive. He knows exactly what to talk about. A Pakistani drone shot down there once again. Viewers, they're throwing it all at us. The kitchen sink and everything, but they're not going far. Look at that. Jammu and Kashmir is at the front line. We've been told there in Jammu, in Bishna area, another drone down. There have been loud bangs once again in Srinagar. In the morning at 5:58 or 5:48, if I'm not mistaken, there were 2 loud bangs. Many people have said that Pakistan aircraft are down there. That's a different story because that's an ongoing operation. I don't want to talk about it too much, viewers. But we heard from the MEA that they're going to come back and give us a full briefing in the afternoon. So that will be around 4:30, and that's going to be very, very interesting. They've said there's a lot to still tell you, a lot to update you about. Wait, have patience, just follow the guidelines. Yes, General Saab, I want to bring you in on this. Professor Nalapat is of the view now that this is it. This is our moment. Let's not fall for all these, highfalutin conversations that come out of Washington, D.C. and this, that, the other and get pressured and, think that we should, yes, of course, we want Tilak Deveshwar also, please bring him in, very important voice in this calculus. But, General, this is it really. From a military strategist point of view, could you be better placed? I'm just asking, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Look, anything can happen in battle, so we have to be very, very careful. We don't want to sound triumphal. We don't want to at any level sound as if, we won any big contest. We haven't even gone up 1 or 2% on the escalation ladder. So it's very early days. But yes, we have shown that whatever they thought of us is wrong. So, General.
Rahul, before I answer that, I just want to say, you see, this call is between the DGMOs.
Yeah.
And this is the calls between DGMOs are a routine thing which happen. Even during the previous wars, these kind of calls have taken place.
Yeah.
And in any case, monthly they speak to each other. At times weekly they do speak, depending on the condition.
Yeah.
So we may not read too much
into it, yes.
with this call. Second point which you said, Rahul, there is no doubt in this. This is the moment, either now or never. We are very well placed. Firstly, militarily, if you ask me, economically, diplomatically, international support, no matter whatever America is saying, America is in any case, they run with hare and hunt with hound.
That's
the
right.
way they have done it so far with number of countries. But, and other thing is, you see the total domestic support is with us. Today, the entire nation is behind Prime Minister Modi. And everyone is expecting that something should happen.
Yeah.
Now, talking purely from armed forces point of view.
One second, sir. Just a second. There's some news coming through. I just want to go across to our reporter. I'll come right back to you. This is an evolving situation, viewers. Tejinder Sori with us. Tejinder, yes, what can you tell us? Update us, please.
Yes, sir, Rahul. Pakistani drone has been shot down by our air defense system in the Bishna area. It is in Jammu, wherein the Pakistani drone tried to carry out attack on a vital military installation in the area. We are not disclosing the exact location and the exact name of the military installation, but yes, a vital military installation was the target of this drone. However, our aircraft mechanism that is in place in that area has taken down this drone. Now this drone has been taken away by security forces, and they are analyzing what type of drone it was, what type of payload it was carrying. So clearly, once again, the nefarious design of the enemy nation Pakistan has been foiled by our security forces, and there are also reports that several other drones have been shot down in other places, including Pathankot in Srinagar. So these reports are being verified, but in Bishna, yes, a Pakistani drone that whose target was a vital military installation in the area has been shot down by our security forces, by our defense mechanism.
Okay.
Yes,
Also, we're getting news that certain loud explosions have been heard in Srinagar or over Srinagar. Can you confirm that?
Yes, Rahul. There are reports that Pakistani drone has also been shot down near the Srinagar airport. The entire area has been sealed. There is electricity in the entire area has been cut off, and air raid sirens are on in various places, including Baramulla, including Srinagar. Yes, some loud bangs were heard in the vicinity of Srinagar airport, wherein the report suggests that a Pakistani drone has been shot down. In Pathankot also there were certain explosions, and the sources are saying that another Pakistani drone which tried to attack the Pathankot Air Force Station has also been shot down by our air defense mechanism, which is in place in the area. Yes, Rahul.
Okay, stay on with me. I just want to quickly go across to Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman, as well as, of course, General Kohli. Both of them are in with us. Professor Nalapat stays on with us. We're also going to try and connect to Tilak Devasher. This has been an evolving situation. Viewers, what's happening on the ground? We know now that Pakistan is reeling. Abhishek Matiman. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Wing
can
Commander.
hear you. Loud
Yes,
and clear.
weigh in on this, sir. We've completely taken their bases out. We are being told that by the MEA. You heard the press conference. Lots of details emerging from that press conference. We're seeing the skyline above those bases alit. I mean, there's fire all over the place. It looks as if they walked into some sort of an inferno. They're done. They're fried.
Absolutely, Rahul. And what my point of view is, hereafter, let's make them continue crying visibly in front of the world and in front of their own populace. General Munir, I am talking about. Let him keep crying, keep begging for peace, keep begging. He needs to come out with a begging ball on this front also.
That's fine, but I want to ask you, Wing Commander Matiman, just talk me through these bases that we've attacked. What do you make of these attacks? Number one, why were these targets picked?
See, having prodded for the last, say, more than 48 hours, their defensive as well as offensive capabilities, as I said yesterday, their entire network, the EW network and the air defense network, lie exposed. We knew where exactly the loopholes are. All our projectiles went through, whereas they were hardly able to land any of theirs on our soil on target. So having done so, we went for the kill. The first step was to carry out SEAD missions, suppression of enemy air defenses, which we did very clinically, one by one, on their air defense radars, on their much touted Chinese superior technology radars, putting them down, biting the dust. And thereafter, clinically went from one airfield to the other, from Rahim Yar Khan to Sukkur to Noor Khan to Sargoda to Rawalpindi to Chaklala. All these airfields have historically been the backbone of the much touted Fizaya Pakistani Air Force. Now that these airfields have been put to rest, at least temporarily, we have a clear window. To go for the kill. Mind you, in the morning, what they did was they launched a tactical ballistic missile which was apparently headed, as per information, towards our national capital region. We were lucky. I would rather say we were so professional, and the last 48 hours have shown that. And what we had been doing all this while, we knocked this one also right out of the sky, right in the middle of its flight path over Sirsa. The air warriors and all the armed forces so far have been doing a fantastic job, and I think the time has come for us to
So are you saying,
continue.
you see, Mr. Vikram Misri, when he was addressing, or I think one of the two officers were addressing, they made references to a high-speed missile from Pakistan. Is that what they were talking about? Is that the high-speed missile? Yes. The tactical ballistic missile? I'm not a military man. I don't understand military stuff, so please break it down for our viewers.
Absolutely.
And people like me.
That was an indication, to my knowledge and to my understanding, that was the Fateh 2 he was pointing out to, which as per reports was launched this morning. And that is a trigger enough for us not only to react, not only to escalate, but react in a manner befitting our own capabilities and the volume of firepower and gunpowder that we can inflict upon them. We being the superior power now reserved by any conventions of warfare.
So just talk me through.
We reserve the action.
You said that we went clinically from one airfield to another. So what do you think we employed to do this? What were the kind of munitions we might have employed? You're an airman, so I'm asking you this. Also, a speciality or two about this Rawalpindi Air Base, the one in Sargodha. Why are they so important for Pakistan?
See, what happens is, if we have gone through the entire thing, three of these major airfields that I just named are close to their nuclear sites. These are the bases, if at all Pakistan is ever going to imagine or think in terms of launching a nuclear attack, these are the air bases which are close to their nuclear sites. So, rendering them ineffective for the time being restricts their ability to deliver their much hyped nuclear arsenal, at least by the medium of air for the time being, till such time that they are able to repair their runways. What we would have, the weapons we would have used to address these airfields would be a variety of them, including again standoff weapons air-launched weapons launched by our fighter aircraft, as well as BrahMos as and where required.
So that would have been a panoply of weapon systems, obviously completely catching these Pakistanis off guard. It's surprising, viewers, that for 4 days, these Pakistanis, much vaunted warriors, couldn't protect their soil. We have taken out at will the targets that we aimed our guns at, our missiles at, our aircraft at. General, what does this tell you about the state of preparedness in the Pakistani army?
Yes, the results, they speak for themselves, but having said that, you see, these are the forward airfields, like my Air Force friend has said. These are taken out because once they take off, their fighters will take off from here, subsequently also. Also, every country...
How will they do that?
Once they take off, these are the bases.
Yes.
Sargodha, the Reem Yar Khan, these are their bases.
Yeah.
Right? If they have to take off and come on us, these are the places.
Right.
But these airfields which have been kind of destroyed, this is a very temporary phenomenon. They will have the drills of recuperating them. Within few hours or within as many hours, you will find the airfields will be functional and these things will come up. Normally, these things are done when we make use of it, and like when you destroy them, you prevent them from taking off and we take certain action. But this certainly sends them a message. Now, you asked me the comparative thing, that how does it show their preparedness? Their preparedness is seen. You see, their air defense has failed. Chinese HQ-9 system, what they deployed, we suppressed that very well. And their JF-17s have been brought down, 2 yesterday and probably 2 today or 1 today.
But we can't confirm that, but that's the talk.
Yeah. But 2 have been brought down, and even that PL-15 missile, which lots of hype was created when they gave it to them. This is a Generation 5 one, which had been given to Pakistan. Yesterday, the debris which were found, where PL-15 was also found. So their equipment-wise, they are slightly inferior. We haven't made use of so far our naval forces, in which we are much superior. That card remains with us, and I'm sure the government at the appropriate time, those things will also be made functional. Second thing is, as far as army is concerned, you know the differential, the 6.5 lakhs versus 14 lakhs and remaining equipment also, I will not go over that. And the other thing is, which is very strong in our favor, is the morale of our troops. You see, there are dissensions in their army. Right. The way, the kind of beating they've been getting from BLA, TTP and their seniors have been disowning that kind of thing, that doesn't motivate a soldier. And it's always the man behind the gun or behind the equipment which makes the difference. So that is their weakness, and we have very solid thing with us. So they know their weaknesses, for how long will they last, and probably that's how they're behaving like this. Okay. But what has been spoken, that we shouldn't let it go like this.
We should let it go. Professor Nalapat, you said that they don't consider us, which are the Hindus here in India, a species like them. They think we're some new biological mammal that has been sort of supplanted. But they also don't. The Punjabi Muslim there, that is the ruling elite of Pakistan, they don't treat the Kashmiris as their own, the Sindhis as their own, the Pathans as their own, or the Balochis on their own. So we have deep fissures in Pakistan. Could we this massive contest now, I'm not even going to call it a war, I can't even call it a conflict in that sense because it hasn't been declared as one, but this sort of tit-for-tat response and the attenuation of the Pakistani military system, the vulnerability of the great general Munir, the deranged man that you have defined very well using choice adjectives. Now, could we see perhaps the unraveling of the Pakistani state in the months, years ahead? Have we established that the army there is actually quite vulnerable?
Look, quite hollow. Yeah. What is the Taliban? The creation of the Pakistan army. And today the Taliban has become a ferocious enemy of the Pakistan military and is friendly with India. Yeah. The very thing that they nurtured has turned against them. Yes. Why? Because essentially, I've been to Punjab multiple times during the 1980s. They are wonderful people. And in terms of that, maybe in the military, unfortunately, they have the superiority complex, Punjabis, because they run the military. Potoharis, frankly. People from that Potahar area of Punjab dominate that. But I want to say one thing, Rahul. Don't make the mistake that was made in World War II by Germany. Hitler was pounding away, the Luftwaffe was pounding away at British air bases. Internal documents show that had these pounding attacks continued for a little while longer, Britain would have had no military air bases to take off its RAF from. The RAF was in panic. And then what happened? One stray bomber got through to Berlin and dropped a few bombs. And Hitler went mad. The man was mad anyway. And he ordered full-scale civilian retaliation and therefore removed the threat from the airfields, and that saved the RAF. The airfields are a vital element of defense. Very vital. And going after them, dismantling their protection systems, dismantling the operational capability is a fundamental priority. So nothing should distract us from that. But regarding the United States, Rahul, I have my own views. I think it's no secret that Trump is not like Biden or the usual run of US politicians. True. We need to have people who can appeal to the MAGA crowd in the MAGA idiom. Frankly, Rahul, I hate to say this, but you would fit that bill pretty well, and so would many others. But the reality is that they don't like officials and former officials. And this very disciplined and very, what do I say?
Starchy.
Doesn't work with them. Yes. So we have to convince them and convince them of the China factor. And very importantly, convince them of the fact that we have brought down Chinese defensive equipment, whether it's missiles, whether it's your satellite imaging technology, whether it's protective systems. That's precious gold to the Americans.
Absolutely.
We need to drill that into them.
The world is watching. Absolutely. I mean, China is looking very, very, very bad. It's looking very bad, viewers. Indian missile systems, indigenously developed, are better than the Chinese. We have shown that they make plastic junk, pollute the earth, and they also make metallic junk that they think is going to create waves militarily. It's all junk, viewers. It's junk. It's scrap. It's absolute scrap. And Professor Nalapat is saying so. Hold your thoughts, Professor, because we've got a entire report from the ground, from Jaisalmer, where India has done fantastically well. Let's just go across to it.
So, we are in Jamla village right now, where a part of a missile fell here last night in a residential area, and we have travelled all the way from Jaisalmer, and there are some residents of this village who had actually seen this missile coming in and falling in. We have ex-serviceman Padma Rao ji with us. Sir, क्या हुआ था कल रात में? क्या देखा आप लोगों ने जब ये गिरी थी?
जी सर, मैं मेरे घर के आगे सो रहा था, बनियाने के पास में मेरा घर है, तो मेरा बच्चा भी मेरे पास में सो रहा था, वो जगह है अचानक ही। उसने बोला सर ये फाइटर आ रहा, कोई पीछे इसकी लाइट जग रही थी लाल कलर की, तो मैं भी जगह, मैंने देखा भाई इसकी आवाज़ तो नहीं है, आवाज़ नहीं, तो मैंने बोला ये तो मिसाइल है मुझको। उसके बाद में 2 फाइटर ऊपर मंडराए बनियाना गांव के ऊपर। उन फाइटरों ने 2 चक्कर निकाले, फिर जैसे ही ये फाइटर इस तरफ आए तो इन्होंने पीछे ट्रेस किया है और इस मिसाइल के अंदर आग लगी है। आग को जलते हुए हमने देखा इस पीछे छर्रे निकले थे। उसके बाद में ये भटक कर यहाँ जैमला के अंदर आके गिरी है। ये मुसलमान भाई है नूरदीन, इसके घर के आके गिरी है। मैं पूर्व सैनिक और हमारे अंदर अभी भी इतना ही जज्बा है कि हम अभी पाकिस्तान की छक्के छोड़ाने के लिए तैयार हैं।
कुछ धमाका वगैरह भी हुआ था जब गिरी थी तो?
हाँ, 2 धमाके हुए थे जोरदार। एक इसका था, एक पता नहीं और कहाँ का था। 2 जोरदार धमाके हुए थे।
तो कोई जान माल का नुकसान है?
जान माल का नुकसान नहीं सुना अभी तक, कुछ भी नहीं सुना। धमाके जोरदार हुए थे।
So with big explosions, this part of missile came here, and they then reported it to the local authorities, and then the military and air force and other intelligence agencies were informed. They are all here. A lot of people are here to, they have entire area has been cordoned, and they are making sure that it remains intact so that it can be taken further for inspection. With video journalist Rama Shankar Yadav, this is Anil Srivastava for CNN News 18.
But let's go across to Wing Commander Matiman. Wing Commander, did you see that that projectile?
Yeah.
Blackened by soot.
Yeah. Correct. Looking by the sheer size of it, appears to be a kind of a missile, not a big one in the sense. Could have been an air launched missile, as he rightly, the ex-serviceman present at that place rightly pointed out. He saw 2 aircrafts hovering, or 2 fighter aircrafts to be specific, over the place when this was dropped. This was knocked out and dropped onto the ground in the vicinity of his residence. So it could have been one of those missiles used in the air combat, which eventually landed up on ground. So there have been souvenirs of Chinese technology, in fact, being home delivered to us ever since we started spinning our magic over the Pakistani territory. Also to remember, and even at the cost of repetition, we must remember all this magic spun and the one-sided affairs we see over the last more than 48 hours is mostly more than 90% of it has been guided and executed only by the Indian Air Force, suitably supported a fraction of it by army elements. We didn't have the larger force, that is the Indian Army is still coming really into its colors and showing, giving them the real taste of defeat. That is yet to come. We are only on our way to pick out their air defense assets, to neutralize their war waging capabilities, to achieve air dominance, eventually air supremacy, to pave the way for our ground forces who are raring to go, I am sure. And now let me remind the initial talk that the Prime Minister delivered immediately in the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack in the political rally in Bihar. The desired end result, what he stated there specifically in English for the global audience to listen to him loud and clear, was we are going after terrorism, after the people who give birth to terrorism, who are the planners and the executors. We are here to uproot terrorism in its entirety, and so was exactly replicated on various occasions by the Honorable Home Minister and the Raksha Mantri also. So the end state is yet to come. We have just put the foot on the pedal. I think we need to keep it there for a while and watch what is to follow. They will automatically fall apart. The fissures are already visible. The moment the ground forces move in, my gut feeling says Balochistan will fall all by itself. We already have reports of Pakistani army and police forces running helter and skelter
I want to get in with Professor Nalapat on this. What we saw there really looks like a drain pipe suffused with Chinese garbage. That's what we saw there. I'm sorry, it's colorful language, but Professor Nalapat, that long projectile looks like a drain pipe to me. And you know what drain pipe carry. We all know that. So you made that analogy that this is the moment where China is looking extremely bad. Can you elaborate on that point? That's an interesting point. And then, of course, we'll flip it to Balochistan and others.
Look, I wouldn't call them inferior or anything, but the reality is that we were superior. And frankly, Atmanirbharta is very important. Yeah. Why? Because foreign equipment, willy-nilly, we don't know what Trojans are there, what data. For example, some of the advanced fighters, they've got microchips in them which transmit real-time data on all operations back to the maker. The maker of the jet gets all the information. God forbid that maker has got, that our enemies have access to that particular maker, then we'll be in trouble. So the reality is Atmanirbharta is very important. Drones are important. Smart bombs are important. Smart missiles are important. And I can tell you, Rahul, this is the age of smart warfare, where the real warriors are, of course, the people in the front line giving their all. But the fact is, also important are the people, who have got thick glasses and who are just in a dark room looking at a bank of computers and guiding drones and predators, especially. We need to replicate a predator. We need to get more of our own drones so that there are no Trojans anywhere. And most importantly, I would like to say, we need to convince the United States about the justness of our cause. I am really surprised at the reaction of Trump and Marco Rubio.
Yes.
So, one thing I'll tell you about Prime Minister Modi, from the beginning he made it clear, I have given freedom to the military. I have given freedom to them to act as they will. That's the wisest decision that a leader can take, and he took it. So my point is very simple, Rahul. We are united. Where is this? The Munir was talking about, as you said, a new biological species. Where is the disunity? We are one. We are 1.4 billion people.
Yes.
All religions, all regions, everything. We are all together in this war. And we may represent the four of us may represent four entirely different parts of the country. But the reality is we are united in love of our country, in love of Bharat, that is India. And I would like to say, Rahul, this has shown the nonsense that Munir was spouting.
Yes.
He was hoping for all-out communal conflict.
Yeah.
He has got nothing. And I would like to congratulate the people of India for having stood unitedly and for remaining united.
And viewers, I have to tell you this. Talking about unity, talking about the unity of purpose, I want to tell you that the picture that we just showed you on the left of your screens, just a little short while back, where the Indian BSF and other units who are deployed at the LOC and the IB are hammering Pakistan. If you listen to that entire video that has been released, it is cut to the strains of Kadam Kadam Badaheja, a beautiful anthem. Yes. If you listen to it, if you play it loudly, you'll understand. And viewers, that anthem mobilizes all of us and makes us take a stride in one direction. All of us. No one is left behind. The PIB fact-checking unit is also working overtime, viewers. They've just put out a tweet saying, heard of the attack on Nagrota airbase? Well, beware, they've said, beware. An old and digitally altered video is being falsely circulated as footage of a Pakistani attack on the Nagrota airbase. The Pakistanis are daydreaming, viewers, and they're putting out all sorts of garbage. All sorts of garbage on social media. They're only fighting this war on social media, viewers. Let me tell you this. Because on the ground, they're getting hammered. Absolutely hammered. We'll take a short break. Take a short break. We'll come right back.
An escalation. I mean, Pakistan is willing to risk attacking your capital. Fortunately, we were able to disable it to make sure before it hit Delhi. But what if it had hit Delhi? And how do you know it's an armed conventional or is it a nuclear armed missile? So Pakistan is testing the limits of India's patience, and therefore any response henceforth will be measured. But that measure will also go up several notches.
Well, again, since you're talking about that, well, let me report two other developments. Sirens on in Jammu and another explosion heard in Srinagar. So let's just hope that everything is, everyone is out of harm's way. Akash joining us for more on these details. Ishan Wani reporting another explosion heard in Srinagar. Akash, the sirens in Jammu and the explosion heard in Srinagar. Yes.
Yes, we have been hearing the sirens. In fact, I'll try to give you some natural ambience. There you have the sirens, and these sirens are on since just a while back. We heard the AD gun sound destroying one drone, and I was in fact reporting that, Rahul. In fact, in Srinagar, we have been hearing about similar activities. So it seems like Pakistan is still not, in fact, letting its
well, big news coming in, Akash.
Sort of
big news coming in. First phone call between India and Pakistan. The DGMOs are talking now. Just break this down for us. DGMOs talking. What does this mean?
Yes, Director General Military Operations. We have seen that how their offices connected last Tuesday. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that one hotline connection has been established, in fact, today. And Pakistan wants de-escalation. This is a big news coming in fact, Rahul.
पाकिस्तान ने ड्रोन अटैक के बाद में अब मिसाइल हमले शुरू कर दिए, वो भी रिहायशी इलाकों के अंदर। जैसलमेर के मांगलियों की ढाणी गांव के अंदर है और यहाँ पर आप तस्वीर देखिए कि मिसाइल का टुकड़ा, ये नजर आ रहा है मिसाइल, ये देखिए कि यहाँ पर किस तरीके से ये मिसाइल यहाँ पर मारी गई है और बिल्कुल रिहायशी इलाका। देखिए कि ये देखिए काफ़ी वजनी है, उठाना मुश्किल है। ये पूरा आप देखिए कि पीछे से ये पूरी सब कुछ लगा हुआ, ये मिसाइल का बड़ा टुकड़ा जो यहाँ पर गिरा है। ऐसे कई सारे पीस गिरे हुए अलग अलग जगह पर। आप तस्वीरों में देखेंगे कि यहाँ पर ये गांव, ये देखिए यहाँ पर ये मिसाइल के अलग अलग भारी टुकड़े ये गिरे हुए। ये घर देखिए, बिल्कुल घर, यहाँ पर घर के आंगन के पार खरीदा और इससे आप देखिए कि बड़ा हादसा हो सकता है। घर में किसी को नुकसान तो नहीं हुआ? ये आपके यहाँ गिरा, अगर थोड़ा सा पीछे गिरता तो नुकसान होता। घर के अंदर भी गिरा है, घर के अंदर मलबा पड़ा है अभी अंदर। किसी के लगी, किसी के चोट नहीं आई। कम से कम 5 किलोमीटर तक ये टुकड़े गए। 5 किलोमीटर रेंज में गए। तेज धमाका हुआ, तेज फुल 3 धमाके हुए।
An escalation. I mean, Pakistan is willing to risk attacking your capital. Fortunately, we were able to disable it to make sure before it hit Delhi. But what if it had hit Delhi? And how do you know it's an armed conventional or is it a nuclear armed missile? So Pakistan is testing the limits of India's patience, and therefore any response henceforth will be measured. But that measure will also go up several notches.
Well, again, since you're talking about that, well, let me report two other developments. Sirens on in Jammu and another explosion heard in Srinagar. So let's just hope that everything is, everyone is out of harm's way. Akash joining us for more on these details. Ishan Wani reporting another explosion heard in Srinagar. Akash, the sirens in Jammu and the explosion heard in Srinagar. Yes.
Yes, we have been hearing the sirens. In fact, I'll try to give you some natural ambience. There you have the sirens, and these sirens are on since just a while back. We heard the AD gun sound destroying one drone, and I was in fact reporting that, Rahul. In fact, in Srinagar we have been hearing about similar activities. So it seems like Pakistan is still not in fact letting its
big news coming in, Akash. Big news coming in. First phone call between India and Pakistan. The DGMOs are talking now. Just break this down for us. DGMOs talking. What does this mean?
Yes, Director General Military Operations. We have seen that how their offices connected last Tuesday. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that one hotline connection has been established, in fact, today. And Pakistan wants de-escalation. This is a big news coming in fact, Rahul. Pakistan wants de-escalation. Situation is, in fact, bad in the country, and Pakistan wants to meet Indian side. This was the connection between the DGMOs on both the sides, and they have spoken on hotline. DGMO, remember, is someone who takes care of the operation of the military on both sides, and we have been given to understand that DGMOs connected from both the sides.
Well,
and Pakistan
right now I have to go across
de-escalation.
Okay, just 1 second, because we only have him for 10 minutes apparently, and I've been asked to go straight across to the father of Daniel Pearl. Daniel Pearl, we have to go across to Jude Pearl. I'm being told that we only have him for 10 minutes. I'm sorry, viewers, but in the middle of this breaking news, I have to go across to Jude Pearl, I'm told. Jude Pearl, your reactions really to the Indian strike, taking out the brother of Masood Azhar, a person directly connected with the incident involving your son.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes, Mr. Jude Pearl.
Oh, I can hardly hear you. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, the question was what my reaction is. I am, of course, very delighted that the issues of my son has come to the attention of the media and the general public, because it has been almost forgotten. And what was forgotten is the fact that the people responsible for his murder have not been brought to justice. So I'm glad that at least a person who was indirectly connected with his abduction was killed. I'm not sure that he was killed, actually. I haven't seen any confirmation from the Pakistani side that Azhar was killed. But I trust the Indian intelligence to verify that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Jude Pearl, for speaking with us. Thank you very much. We'll just come back to you in just a short while. There has been a huge development here in India, viewers. Let's go back to that big story. I want to go straight. Viewers, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a day that has brought some news of devastation from Pakistan. We've been telling you it's been building up to this, and it has. It's dawned on Pakistan and its military bosses that where they sit, the very ground beneath their feet is shrinking and is unstable. And worse, it's within reach of the Indian Armed Forces. Look at the pictures, viewers. Narawal, Rawalpindi, Noor Khan Air Base. Not just one air base, viewers. Half a dozen air bases are up in flames. In the middle of your screens is Rawalpindi. That is the citadel of the Pakistani's military establishment. That's where General Munir sits. It's the military headquarters. And within yards of that military headquarters, viewers, there's this massive ball of fire. Fire, viewers, you can see that lighting up the sky. Imagine the psychological impact of that. Narawal, viewers, it looks as if the entire horizon is lit up. Viewers, all of this would have been speculative had it not been for confirmation that has come via Vikram Misri. Vikram Misri and the two army officers, the two military officers rather, who brief the Indian media, brief all of us on a daily basis, came out and gave us a whole rundown of what has transpired, viewers. So Pakistan provoked as it always does. It provoked across 26 locations. It tried to call our bluff. 26 locations from Srinagar all the way down to Nalia. And it thought that India would do nothing, viewers, because you see, they think that India sits on the moral high ground, wants to look like goody two-shoes. But viewers, not quite so. Not quite so, because India has retaliated in a manner that Pakistan is not going to forget. Pakistan troops are moving to the forward areas. They're shaken. They don't know next if India is going to cross the LOC. And we are expecting some more drama from them. But they're also moving, viewers, because they're getting strung out and eviscerated, debilitated at the front line. We've got visuals of Indian troops shelling Pakistan forward positions, Pakistan posts on the LOC. I've told you air bases have been struck. All Indian air bases, however, that they sought to target in the wee hours, pre-dawn hours, are safe. And how do we know this? Because pictures have been put out, viewers, time-stamped pictures showing our air bases absolutely unscathed. Viewers, there has been a massive propaganda campaign launched by the Pakistani forces and the cyber divisions. What have they been saying? They've been saying that the Sirsa airbase in India has been targeted. That's the biggest lie, viewers. Pictures were shown at the press conference, time-stamped from today, 10:48, to show that everything there is working normally. Then they said that Suratgarh airbase was flattened out. Viewers, the Suratgarh airbase is looking $1 million. It's looking $1 million, again unscathed. S-400 base in Adampur has been flattened. That's what they said, viewers. That's also been denied. Critical power and cyber systems in India have been brought down. That's also been denied, viewers. They launched high-speed missiles, the Fatah-2, which was intercepted, viewers, over Sirsa. It was supposed to be heading to Delhi. Everything the Pakistanis are throwing at us, viewers, is collapsing. Civilians, however, are being targeted by their coward army, their terrorist force. Since they can't really hit us where it hurts militarily, at our military installations and assets, they've decided, let's go after the soft targets, viewers. Because that's what terrorists do, don't they? They're bullies. They never take on someone equivalent. They always take on the weakest link. And they've gone after our unarmed, defenseless civilians, viewers. And some have suffered grievous casualties. And there's also been an attempt, cowardly attempt, insidious, invidious attempt, viewers, to sow seeds of division between communities by spreading fake news, suggesting that Indian forces have carried out a false flag operation and targeted Sri Amritsar Sahib. Again, viewers, if you just have friends or anybody, they'll confirm to you that that's not the case. They've also said that we've been striking in Afghanistan. Can you believe it, viewers? That's also, of course, a lie. They're using civilian planes, viewers, as shields. That's also happening. So as tensions continue to escalate, viewers, listen in to Vikram Misri.
Pakistani actions that have constituted provocation and escalation. In response, and I repeat, in response, India has defended and reacted in a responsible and measured fashion to these provocations and these escalations by the Pakistani side. Earlier this morning, we saw a repeat of this escalatory and provocative pattern. Pakistani claims about activities that they have undertaken continue to be heavy on lies, misinformation and propaganda. And on top of that, this is peddled by Pakistani state agencies. The claims that they have made about attacking and destroying various places, various military installations and facilities, as has been pointed out by my colleagues here this morning, are completely false. The claim about the Air Force station in Sirsa being destroyed, completely false, as you've seen. The claim about the Air Force station in Suratgarh being destroyed, completely false again, as you have seen. There's a claim that has been made that the S-400 base at Adampur was destroyed, completely false once again. Claims have been made about large sections of Indian critical infrastructure, power systems, cyber systems, etc. being attacked and destroyed, completely false. I would urge all of you and all those who watch this not to be misled by this tissue of lies that is being peddled by the Pakistani state for obvious purposes.
Viewers, let's go straight across now to Arun Dhata, who's joining us with more information. It's been a very, very busy day. It's been a fast-paced day, viewers. Lots of developments. The Tri-Services Chiefs are at 7 LKM meeting the Prime Minister. Earlier, the Prime Minister had a 1-hour, 20-minute meeting with the NSA. So a lot happening. Defence Minister also at the Prime Minister's home. CDS also present. Let's go straight across to our reporter there to get a sense of what really is transpiring. Remember, viewers, yesterday at around 6:30 or 7 in the evening, we again had one of those big meetings where first it was the naval chief, and then he was joined by the two other chiefs of the two other military wings. Then you had the CDS, then you had the NSA. All of them met. You had the RM joining in, the Raksha Mantri, that is, and that meeting also was at 7 LK. And everybody said that there was something big that was going to happen, and look what transpired. So here is another brainstorming session. Let's go across to Arun Dhata for more on this. Arun, what can you tell us? It's a big development.
Well, that's right, Rahul, Tri-Services Chief and CDS Anil Chauhan and just now Defence Minister Rajnath Singh have arrived here at Prime Minister Modi's residence, and this is very significant. In the morning we saw NSA Ajit Doval coming here and in fact sitting with Prime Minister Modi for almost 1 hour 30 minutes, and now we are seeing Tri-Services Chief and Rajnath Singh. This is also of course about the retaliatory action that India could take. We are seeing since morning that how India is responding to the Pakistan's violations at different places. We saw before this, Rahul, that Rajnath Singh had a long meeting with CDS at his residence, and on the other hand you had three services chief sitting in the South Block, in fact also monitoring situation from the war room. Now all of them are here at Prime Minister Modi's residence, and remember yesterday when they were here for 5 hours, long meeting happened. In fact, we are also given to understand that External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar could be coming here. So India is of course planning action on a larger scale, because they are anticipating that Pakistan is continuously violating through the ballistic missiles and other drone activities which they are doing. So there needs to be a proper planning to really counter them and then hit them hard. So this meeting is very, very significant, Rahul. We are present outside Prime Minister Modi's residence at this point. As we speak, the meeting has commenced inside the residence.
Okay. Well, you know, viewers, it's all really about figuring out how much to put pressure on Pakistan so that deterrence is established. That's what really it's about. And I want to go straight across to Shivani Gupta, because Shivani, we know since the morning, details have come out, Shivani, that tell us just exactly what India has been up to. Is that going to be enough to establish deterrence? We don't know. That's all a decision that is being taken at 7 LK.
Absolutely. But let me just break down some of the top visuals from through the night, which will detail the most important developments. So India has launched retaliatory strikes at major Pakistani air bases, including the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, Murid Air Base in Chakwal and Rafiki Air Base in Shorkot. These are some of the visuals that we have picked up of the damage that has been caused This is, of course, some of the blasts that have been captured in Rawalpindi, and of course, this is the Noor Khan Air Base, where a massive blast has been picked up, also in Narowal. India has hit Pakistani posts in Sialkot and Narowal as well, and visuals have been accessed by CNN News 18. India has also launched an attack on Sargodha Air Base in Pak's Punjab province. Let's take a look at India's action at the Sargodha Air Base. Behind me are visuals from that air base. As you can see, these are people who have been taken aback as far as India's strikes are concerned. India's action in retaliation. This is the Sargodha Air Base from where we have captured the blasts that have been caused by the Indian retaliatory strikes. India's drone impact on Lahore Sheikhpura district has also been captured, and these are those visuals. This is in Lahore, one of the biggest cities in Pakistan, Sheikhpura district. You can see remnants of what seems to be the Indian strike, and you can see Pakistani men surrounding them and looking at them. A lot of damage has been caused. India is not saying it or detailing it, but we have visuals to show that several Pakistani cities have been hit back in India's retaliatory strikes. Damage has been sustained due to Pakistan's cowardly attack on Indian side of the civilian border areas as well. These are some of the regions that we are bringing to you. A lot of them are damages from the areas across the LC, particularly in Jammu, in Baramulla, in Uri, and so on and so forth. These have been caused both because of Pakistan's heavy artillery shelling, but also because of the swarm drone and missile attack that Pakistan attempted once again. So here you can see in Jammu city, a Hindu temple was targeted, homes have been damaged in Rehari, shops have been destroyed in Jammu's Nagbani, and civilian residential areas particularly have been targeted in Uri and Baramulla. In the press conference that also was held a short while ago, that's exactly what the Foreign Secretary detailed, that civilian areas are being targeted, and this has been happening for the last 3 days. Let's also get you some more footages that we've captured from across Indian cities. Drone and missile debris is being found in multiple cities along the IB in India. Remember, 26 locations along the western border where drone and missile attack was attempted again by Pakistan, and a lot of that debris is being found. In Srinagar's Lasjan, what is believed to be remnants or parts of a downed Pakistani jet are seen in some of these visuals at the very left top of the screen. But also in Lasjan, there are of course a Pakistani projectile debris that has been found. In Jaisalmer, a bomb-like object has been found. Parts of drones found in Amritsar and Uddapur. Also, there is footage here, there on the bottom left is the footage of India's action against launch pads from where a lot of these drones were being fired. This is how India has acted. This is footage released by the Indian government. This is where drones were being fired by the Pakistani side near Jammu, and in retaliation, the Indian government has taken on those posts and have destroyed those posts. But the biggest news of the night was Pakistan launching long-range ballistic missiles Fateh-2 at India. It is believed that it was meant for the national capital, Delhi. This, of course, was intercepted and was destroyed somewhere around in Haryana. In Sirsa, loud blasts were seen and heard. These are some of the visuals we picked up from across the border of what they're doing. But of course, missiles have been downed in India. There are visuals from Haryana in Sirsa where an extremely loud blast was heard as citizens watched themselves how the ballistic missile was brought down. Let me also show you a comparison of how Pakistan's attempts were thwarted at home and how India launched a counter-offensive in Pakistan. So these are the places which India has attacked. I have listed some of them: the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, the Murid Air Base in Chakwal, Narowal, Sheikhpura in Lahore. There is the Rafiki Air Base, Sukur Airport in Sindh. But all across the western border, actually it goes right up till Gujarat, Bhuj, where once again in 26 locations, Pakistan has tried to swarm the Indian air defense system with drones and also with missiles this time around. This attack is markedly different from what happened last to last night because this is much more serious. A ballistic missile was aimed at the heart of the national capital. But none of these attempts from Pakistan have succeeded. Very minimal damage on the Indian side. Actually, the more problematic area continues to be the LOC, where there is indeed civilian areas that are getting pummeled by Pakistani artillery shelling, and there has been some loss of civilian lives. But across the rest of the country, along the international border, when it comes to, let's say, down from Jammu, there's Jalandhar, Amritsar, Firozpur, Sirsa, Suratgarh, Jaisalmer, Barmer, no real damage that has come to light.
Well, thanks indeed there, Shivani. That's big news, of course, coming in also. Pakistan's foreign minister says his country would consider de-escalation if India does not carry out further attacks. Viewers, I told you they're shaken up. They don't know what's hit them. We've just had Shivani show you exactly how we've been punishing. Unimaginable punishment is what the Prime Minister had said, if you remember, viewers. Let's go across to Tejinder Singh for more on this. Tejinder Singh Suri will be joining us for more on this, viewers. But a short while back, in fact around 12 o'clock, we had reported that the Pakistan's DGMO had tried to reach out to our DGMO saying that, look, let's de-escalate. We are ready to de-escalate. Now the Pakistani foreign minister says his country would consider de-escalation. In the background, a call has gone out from US Secretary Rubio to the Army Chief of Pakistan. Yes, General Munir, the man who's got his head in the clouds. And that person was told pretty much in very, very, very straight, direct language, you've got to step down, buddy. You've got to step back. He was told that, viewers, because Rubio put out a statement saying that he'd also passed down that message that you need to start talking to the Indian side also. Dr. Jaishankar responded short while back, viewers, saying that India will do what it has to do in its own interest. We are not here to escalate anything, but if Pakistan doesn't choose to take the off-ramp, they don't choose to curtail all this terror activity that they are resorting to, it's going to be problematic. Let's go across to our reporter Tejinder. Tejinder, it appears now. Okay, we don't have Tejinder, but I'm also being told, viewers, that at that meeting where the Prime Minister is meeting the 3 service chiefs, as also, of course, the RM, we're being told that NSA Doval is also now part of that. So the CDS, NSA Doval. And I want to show you pictures from last night, viewers, of all of them with the Prime Minister. And if you remember, I tweeted that set of pictures, and I had told you that those pictures showed the Prime Minister once again decisively setting down the guidelines, the parameters, and how the others were reading out to him the options, the playlist really, of what can be done. And if we can pick out those pictures from about 8:40 in the evening from yesterday, it would be great, because it's the same set of people, viewers, sitting with the Prime Minister this afternoon at 1 o'clock. So are we expecting more? Remember, Vikram Misri had said, viewers, right after that press conference, he'd said it off record, off camera, that is, that we're going to have to come back at about 4:35 with a more detailed briefing, because a lot has transpired. Still, a huge number of active operations are on. So are we punishing Pakistan even as we speak? A video has been released by the ADGPI, viewers. That's the video to the left of your screen. It's been shot, or it's been filmed or put together, edited to the soundtrack of Kadam Kadam Badhaye Ja, which is a patriotic song, viewers, urging the military, urging the nation, urging each one of us to be in lockstep and move firmly towards the direction of our goal, which is, of course, to restore a certain degree of deterrence on Pakistan. General Kohli, are we getting to the point where we are beginning to restore deterrence in Pakistani minds, or do you believe we still need to do a lot more?
No, Rahul, I certainly feel we need to do more. This is only the beginning. And like you said, rightly, number of off-ramps were given to them. They didn't take it. And now they are realizing their capacity, or they're running out of it. So they are contacting us. Yes. But on ground, I feel we should go full hog. Until unless some deterrent punishment is given to them, we should not sort of roll back anything. These talks have got no meaning. They have done number of talks in the past also, which they will not follow. They will not.
So you don't think, even now, they have been, and General Prasad is here with us. General Prasad, do you believe that the Pakistani military now has got the message? Or are they still sort of in doubt and therefore perhaps will repeat a misadventure 6 months down the line? Or have they realized ki, you know, to use a Punjabi phrase which perhaps only they understand, ki bhai shamat aa gayi hai, you know, we're done for?
No, Rahul, even though they may understand, they will never admit it. That's the problem with Pakistan Army. Look, let's examine the whole thing very step by step.
Yeah, please.
If you allow me to do that.
Of course, sir, please.
Firstly, we must understand what is the task assigned. What is the task before the government of India, before all agencies of government of India. And that task has to be accomplished. You will ask me tomorrow, where does this war ultimately go? Where does this finish? Everybody wants to know that. And it will finish only when the task is finished. What is the task? The task is to eliminate all terrorists, all terrorist leaders, and those architects who design this terrorism, which is the ISI and the army chief in the current situation. So the task will only be considered as accomplished by our Prime Minister, by our government, by the people of this nation when it is done. Okay, to do this, multi-directional approaches are going on. The military, the finance ministry, the foreign ministry, the economic ministry, the irrigation ministry, all of that is going on. The simple fact is this, we are in a position to, and continue to say that, as the Prime Minister said 3 years ago, this is not an era of war. We do not want to go to war. We have gone to war, if you call it war, to terrorism. We have to remove terrorism. Now in the process, if the Pakistan Army thinks that they can derail us in achieving our objective, they're sadly mistaken. We started by destroying their 9 or 12, whatever those camps were in the first night. Then they retaliated, we retaliated, and all of that is going on for the last 3 nights. The simple fact is this, we are not escalating, they are escalating. They want to first start with the drones, we dropped the drones. They started with missiles, we dropped the missiles. They attacked some of our airfields, those are all defeated. They fired some armed drones, they were defeated. Now if all this continues and they try another stunt, some reports say there's some formation that moves closer to the IB. Sure, come closer to the IB, we have no problem. You escalate. But we will not, as far as possible, target civilians.
I need to interrupt you, sir. I just need to interrupt you because look at this, viewers. These are pictures from Rahim Yar Khan. Look at this, viewers. The offices, palatial-looking mansions. Look at them. The chandeliers hanging by a thread, viewers, from the ceilings. This is what India has done. This is their cantonment, viewers. It's looking like a garbage dump, completely flattened out. Rahim Yar Khan Air Base in tatters, visuals of the destruction. There it is, viewers, this is evidence. Evidence coming out of Pakistan. This has not been put here by anyone else, viewers, than these people in Pakistan who have got the shock of their lives. So if the idea was actually to, at some level or the other, impose a degree of deterrence, we have done that, viewers, in a way that the Pakistanis will remember. It's visible. They can feel it now. They can feel it, they can see it. They know that even their most pristine bases are open to India.
Yes, Rahul, I just want to say something. Taking clue of what Shankar said, you see, we should not forget our aim. By killing 100 or a terrorist, 100 more will get created. And so long we do not, because the basic thing is this ideology which is behind this, and the supporting this ideology is their army. So the army needs to be punished, and the Pakistan as a country need to be deterred. How that can be done? You see, by these kinetic actions, which we certainly take, we must not stop here. Some deterrent punishment must be given to them, visible, so that their army is made to look silly in front of their population, one. But long-term solution will be that we break Pakistan from within. You see, Pakistan is a nuclear power, and if you look at 1990, the Russia was broken from within. They broke into 15 parts. So the way we have started these non-kinetic actions and the economic squeeze has been started, that should carry on. The BLA is doing its job, TTP in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will do its job, and also Indus water, the problem which has been created for them, that will also...
So 1 second, this Rahim Yar Khan airport, just tell me a little bit about this military installation. Yeah. And I also want to bring in General Prasad on this. General Prasad, these pictures that have come, give me a quick sense of Rahim Yar Khan, its strategic importance, and I'll come out to you, sir. General.
Yeah. Yes, of course it is. First of all, first point, who's sending these pictures to you? Somebody from Rahim Yar Khan, isn't it?
Yes.
Your journalist has not gone there to take these pictures.
No.
Obviously, they are fed up. Okay, now your second question about the importance of Rahim Yar Khan. Rahim Yar Khan is a very important base, a military base in the desert. If you look at the map, as it so happened, I used to command the division opposite this, perhaps you will recall, and this is an important target for us.
Where exactly is this,
We
sir?
will be able to destroy. Look at the map. If you look at Jaisalmer, and you look towards the west, just about 2 degrees north of that,
so
you will find Rahim Yar Khan.
Yes.
Rahim Yar.
Yes.
Yeah. If you've got a map, I wish I could show you on a map. It is very much within the target range of our forces. And let me tell you, Rahim Yar Khan can be reduced by us, not only by air but by all other means as well, which we will not use unless required to use. As I said continuously, every military action that the armed forces of India will take will be focused towards achievement of the objective and the task. We will not do anything beyond that task. And if you force us to do it, if Rahim Yar Khan gets activated against us, they will get a lesson. They've already got one lesson already. If they want to do some tank movement from there, they'll get an answer from us in tank movement also. The point is this: now so far they've only used the air power, the missiles, the drones, and the aircraft.
Yeah.
All of them have been responded to. Lots of bases have been made unfunctional. If they wish to do a land action, they must understand that we fully appreciate this, and they will have a very soon a situation where 90,000 people will lay their arms down, and the Pakistan army much quicker this time than what they were in Bangladesh. They're actually, the rank and file of Pakistan is quite fed up. Is quite fed up of their senior officers who have done business as part of their appointments. A huge amount of trade and commerce that goes on at the higher levels. They have huge pieces of land in Pakistan. And if you go into more detail, which I'm sure you will, some of the social medias are showing what kind of accounts the senior generals of the Pakistan Army have in accounts in the UK and elsewhere in the world. So the lower ranks are the ones. Now I will give you a small example of the past history, very recent history. You remember when Imran Khan's story was going on? The GHQ headquarters was surrounded by the civilians.
Yes.
One of the corps commanders had to run away from his home. You remember that?
Yes.
So is that situation likely to occur? See what the general
that was
said,
unprecedented, sir. That was unprecedented. I mean, can you imagine the holy of holies in Pakistan, General Shankar Prasad, exposed in that manner? You're absolutely right. That's a very good example you've picked. Yes. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I just saying is this, that you see, we have to make the army change his thinking from terrorism to conventional war, which they haven't understood. They are only focusing on terrorism. If you allow me, I'll tell you, Ziaul Haq, back 30 years ago, said, we cannot win a conventional war with India after Pakistan, they're going to defeat. He said the only way to tame India is to give terrorism and 1,000 cuts, whatever that saying he said. And he said all officers need not be educated. Many officers can come through the madrasa teaching. The present army chief is from madrasa teaching. You know that very well. 56 years ago, and therefore, the situation today is such that the Pakistan army is not focused towards training for conventional military operations. They have two different governments in the country. One is the politically so-called elected government, which is non-functional, and we have military government, which is functional. So unless we can get this military thinking to be changed by the people of Pakistan, so it will be a great task for the entire world, Rahul, if we can change the psyche of Pakistani people, for which the Pakistani people themselves have to stand up.
Yes.
There are intellectuals there. There are examples of just gave Imran Khan. So people have to stand up to say this army needs to change its thinking from...
Maybe we need to punish a little bit more for that tipping point. You have a different view, General. You believe that, General Kohli, that you believe that we shouldn't wind out right now.
No, certainly I feel that.
Yes.
The deterrent punishment has to be given to them, which hasn't been given so far.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, one more point I want to wish, he has brought out a number of things in this. You see, internationally things we've been managing. We need to get USA on our side. USA today needs us. We are part of Quad. They want to have FTA with us and so on. But this thing which has happened yesterday, I just have the thing which happened yesterday in IMF that they've been given this money.
Yeah.
You see, I have a gut feeling without this thing that this guy Trump is very good in making deals.
Huh?
He is very good in making deals.
Yes.
You don't know. He might have given them this money and told them, okay, you de-escalate.
Oh.
But no, this is only my gut feeling. This may be wrong. I have no idea.
Well, but look, I can only tell you one thing, sir. That after that money was given to these rascals across the border,
they start,
especially that deranged general, something changed. They got extremely emboldened and they did what they did.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, fruity language, but I'm sorry when our people, our civilians, viewers, on the border areas are being targeted, defenseless. And Vice Admiral Sinha is here with us. When a military behaves like an auxiliary of a terrorist organization, then they deserve only condemnation. Nonetheless, I'm not going to get swept away. I'm going to reel myself back in. But Vice Admiral Sinha, this is very important. We are now at a point of inflection. There is a meeting going on, a very important meeting between the Tri-Services chiefs, the CDS, the NSA, the RM and the Prime Minister. It's the same team from yesterday. We're seeing what they have done after meeting yesterday. This is Rahim Yar Khan. Jaisalmer was being, as you know, harried for the last 2 nights. And General Prasad has told us that this is right opposite that. And we've responded by doing this to them. There is nothing parallel. There is no parallel. They've tried everything to do, to strike us, to hit us. We've blocked it all. They're at their wits' end. Pakistan is on the ropes. The meeting, I'm sure, is now about, are we done with establishing deterrence or do we need to do more? If you were in that room, what would you be telling the Prime Minister, sir?
Well, thank you, Rahul, for having me on your program. I'm glad to see General Prasad and General Kohli here. You know, Rahul, I have a view that Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed are only hired people who do the job. The actual terrorist organization is the Pak Army ISI combined. They are the terrorist organization, and we have to do something very heavy. And that's precisely what is happening. The punishment is going on left, right, and center. You have shown a lot of photographs. You have also said that you know, Pakistan has reached out to India saying that we should de-escalate. Yes, the money was given from the IMF. They became very bold. They did what they did, but thereafter they got a call from Marco Rubio. And he has spoken to the Prime Minister and he has told them very clearly that, look, you de-escalate immediately. And what you're seeing now, the 2 reasons. One is possibly, maybe General Kohli is right, that maybe that Trump has said, okay, we're getting you this money, but you stop, de-escalate completely. In the meantime, India has pulverized. You see what has happened in Chaklala. You see the Rahim Yar Khan and one more airfield, all in and around Rawalpindi. You're showing this photograph. Just look at this. Look at the fireworks which is going on. Looks like Diwali. So you know, this is a very bad time for Pakistan. Now, second point that I want to make here, you know, the Navy is pretty close on the Makran coast, and they have issued a Nav area warning that no merchant ship should come within so-and-so area because there's a live firing practice going on. And most of the merchant ships have been diverted. They're not entering Karachi for the fear of, you know, getting hit by the practice missile firing. So I think that, you know, time has come, and I quite agree with General Kohli that we should not leave it at that place. My advice will be, okay, if they are asking you to de-escalate, make sure that you destroy their complete terror outfit and possibly the GHQ, because that is where all the dirty minds exist. And I fully agree that Pakistan is imploding from inside. We should help this to implode little faster. You know, you can have Balochistan. I believe that they have said that we are independent. They're asking Indian government that please let the government
recognize
Balochistan
us.
government in exile.
Yes.
They've gone to the UN asking for a membership.
And we should.
And similarly,
I mean, if we could recognize that moth-eaten Palestine, I'm sure we can do that with Balochistan, which we have more in common with.
So, you know, without crossing the line of control...
Okay, sir, I need to interrupt you because more details, big news. Details of terrorists killed in Indian strikes on 7th May in Pakistan. Mudassar Khadian, Khas, alias Abu Jundal, affiliation Lashkar-e-Toiba. Big name, viewers. In charge of Markaz Taiba Mudrike, received a guard of honor at his funeral by the Pakistani army. Hafiz Muhammad Jamil, affiliation Jaish-e-Mohammed, eldest brother-in-law of Maulana Masood Azhar, in charge of Markaz Subhanallah, Bhavalpur, actively involved in radical indoctrination of youth and fundraising for JEM, Jaish-e-Mohammed that is, Muhammad Yusuf Azhar, Ustadji as he was called, alias Muhammad Salim, alias Ghosi Sahab, affiliation Jaish-e-Mohammed, brother-in-law of Maulana Masood Azhar. Masood Azhar, viewers, his family picked out, chun ke, one by one, handled weapons training for JEM, involved in multiple terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, wanted in the IC 814 hijacking case. Khalid, alias Abu Akasha, another big name, sir, another very big name. Lashkar-e-Taiba, involved in multiple terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, engaged in weapon smuggling from Afghanistan, funeral held in Faizabad, attended by Pakistani army officials and the Deputy Commissioner of Faizabad. Can you believe it, viewers? These people, as General Shankar Prasad have said, right now to us, this military establishment, and as Admiral Sinha was telling us, these people are indistinguishable from terrorists, viewers. Muhammad Hassan Khan, number 5 on that list, affiliation Jaish-e-Mohammed, son of Mufti Asghar Khan, Kashmiri operational commander of JEM in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, played a key role in coordinating terror attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. These are the names. These are the names. Payal, let's go straight across to Payal. Payal getting this information. Big scoop by Payal. Go ahead, Payal.
Rahul, for all those people, all those naysayers who are real doubts when Rajnath Singh that said that at least 100 terrorists were killed, including big names, this is the proof from the government for them to really see. This is the proof which is undeniable. So everybody who thought that India was probably bluffing and India just killed some cattle, like the Pakistani DG ISPA tried to put it, that's actually egg on their face. So all these people are people who are known for terrorism, and all the ustads of terrorism have been laid down, to the ground. They've actually been dug deep in the ground, like you were explaining yesterday, 6 feet below the ground for the acts of terrorism they're trying to do, for acts of bleeding the innocents is something which, of course, we say that karma is a big karma is the only reality. We say that in no uncertain terms, and this, of course, this is the lesson that has been taught to the terrorists. And Rajnath Singh said very very clearly कि कम से कम 100 लोग मरे हैं और गिनती अभी भी जारी है और गिनती अब पाकिस्तान को सुनाई देगी. They've been completely in denial of this, but how will they be able to deny these names who have been killed?
Well, clearly all of this information now being made public, viewers, because we've very close to the aims that we set out. Let me bring in Akash. Akash, all of this information, the footage, the names, India has got very close to the end game. Perhaps now we're reassessing what more, how much more, but that's a different matter. Akash.
Rahul, one may wonder that how Indian agencies knew that these individuals were living there and, are there at that point in time. There is when, intelligence plays a major role. And in this entire operation, we have been told that intelligence agencies played a major role. And at this point in time, while we have got these 5 names.
Okay, I think we just lost you there for a few moments, viewers. I'm just going to quickly try and get Payal back. That's the visuals, viewers, on the right of your screens. This is Bhavalpur that was wrecked, completely wrecked from the top, using a group of munitions. Payal, if you're there with me, let's just go over these names. Mudassar Khadian Khas, Mudassar Abu Jundal. Abu Jundal is a name that has come up many times, LET in charge of Markaz Taibe. This is the Mudrike. So he was in charge of the seminary, Payal.
Well, absolutely. All these names are undeniable names. All these names are names. Remember on day one, Rahul, when we reported that India done surgical strikes, or beg your pardon, precise strikes on Pakistan, many people thought it was a laughing matter as well. But we knew very, very well that there was specific intelligence which was available to our forces, special intelligence that was available to all the agencies, and on the basis of that, we had attacked as well. And much of that credit, Rahul, in this case, whether you accept it or not, needs to go to this one man called Ajit Doval, who knows many things about Pakistan that most of us probably have not even known. So that's something that is his biggest strength, and that's actually come to the fore as well. And that's the reason multiple times the person who's running to 7 Lokriyan Marg and briefing the Prime Minister, and even on the day of the strike was briefing the Prime Minister, was Mr. Doval himself as well. A lot of intelligence gathering done, and that's not been done overnight. India knew that it was in their destiny to expose Pakistan before the world, and these names are completely undeniable. With what face will Pakistan now show the world and cry foul that they've been targeted? Pakistan has been playing dirty tricks all along, not just across the border, still trying to kill innocent civilians, are trying to lie to their own people that they've been attacked, are trying to lie, saying that their airspace is being shut, but
Yes.
that has also been amply in fact they've been
So
defaced by the Indian establishment.
If you don't mind, Payal, I just want to quickly bring in, just hold on with me, just trying to get Akash in to get certain specific detail about these individuals. Akash, can you break down this list? 5 of these individuals are now 6 feet under.
Yes, and in fact, when it is about the specifics, so, I want to just highlight the third name, that is, Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist Mohammed Yusuf Azhar. Rahul, he is the brother-in-law of Masood Azhar. He was wanted in IC-814 hijacking case. And, he is someone who has carried out multiple attacks. In fact, he was someone, working as a handler there, sitting in Pakistan and, was directing individuals to carry out attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. This is one big victory, in fact, this particular name. Then Khalid, he is Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorist, and in fact, he was also killed in these strikes. This man, was responsible for multiple terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. We know that how, in 2023, we have seen a number of incidents in Jammu and Kashmir, specifically south of Pir Panjal range. And, at that point in time, we have seen that how our forces have, in fact, have got several casualties, and in fact, have lost their men. But this time around, when we are saying that we have killed these 5 terrorists, it's a big victory for our armed forces, Rahul.
Just stay on with me, because who we are seeing now on the left of your screens, viewers, is one of those terrorists. This man is a person who was wanted, in fact, in connection with the IC-814. On the left of your screens, viewers. Akash, can you really talk us through a little bit about this individual, Yusuf Azhar?
Yes, he was the individual who was in fact responsible for not just several sort of attacks, but in fact, was recruiting individuals here in Pakistan. He was someone, who was in connection with, youth of Jammu and Kashmir, was trying to put out, fake posts via different social media platforms, and, provocative posts, so that, people can get, can come towards him and can come to, implement his agenda of terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes.
And, he was somewhere successful in it. But before, anything else that could have happened, now after Pahalgam, agencies have neutralized this threat. And in fact, along with him, there were multiple terrorists who were killed in these strikes, these 9 precision strikes, that were carried out by Indian armed forces. We were in fact using loiter munitions. We in fact, went to those particular targets, locked those targets, and we had credible, evidence and in fact intelligence that how, these terrorists are residing in these buildings. And then we hit those targets.
We hit those
and
targets.
Now we are learning, in fact.
Now, I just stay on with me. I want to also bring back Payal. Payal broke this story just a few moments back. Payal, look, let's just focus our attentions. Look what has happened. In the last 11 years, the Prime Minister inherited a fragile 5 economy. He's turned it around, made it a top 5 economy. Payal, when he started out, The UPA was saying we didn't have money to buy arms. Today, we are manufacturing our own arms. I think we have forgotten the journey to this point. To the top viewers of your screens, the top right-hand side of your screens, Pahal is there with us. To the top right-hand side of your screens, you just saw viewers pictures there. Those are the funeral procession of all these markazis from the JEM. Now, Payal. So let's give credit where it's due. As you've said, this is Ajit Doval's revenge. Payal, let's bring her on. Payal, this is Ajit Doval's revenge. There is no doubt about this. The Prime Minister has had a vision. We have come to this moment because of the Prime Minister's vision. This has taken 11 years in gestating this vision, but how brilliantly today we are poised, and Pakistan cannot believe what it has seen.
Well, of course, there's no doubt whatsoever. In 2008, when the deadly Mumbai attacks took place, it took you 11 years to even bring one of the perpetrators to justice in India. That happened under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Rahul, when in the past, in the last many years, and not that Pakistan has bled us for the first time that you've seen, people actually rallying behind an elected leader, essentially saying that he's done this in Uri, he's done this in he's done it in Balakot, he will do it again as well. The rallying sound of all the public, especially those who had lost their loved ones, always were of the opinion that yes, Modi will avenge the revenge. That's something which Prime Minister Narendra Modi is an image that he's created about himself and delivered the task as well. Now, you've seen that India has come, from a very bad political paralysis state to a country that the whole world looks forward to as well. In fact, let me tell our viewers, Rahul, in the last meeting which we had for the all-party delegation. Back then also Rajnath Singh told the members of the various political parties that everybody was questioning whether India would be able to have its defense preparedness in place. There are multiple, production, centers of defense equipment who've come forward proactively told the government, we don't care for profit, we don't care for any advance money. If you want us to produce, we will produce this because brand India and Team India is larger than anything else. When have you seen this kind of sentiment really come forward as far as brand India is concerned? That credit undoubtedly must be given to this one man, Narendra Modi, who's been able to teach Pakistan a lesson. And as he vowed that we will be teaching our lesson, that kabhi kisi ne nahi sikhaya hoga, aisa sabak unko sikhayenge. That's the largest sentiment. So, obviously people...
He expressed that sentiment in Bihar, did he not? He said that, look, we're going to bring unimaginable punishment to bear. Viewers, there will be still some who will carp and say, what about Dawood? What about Hafiz Saeed? What about, Maulana Masood? Not Maulana, actually, Masood Azhar. This is not a Maulana. Religion doesn't teach you this, viewers. This is Masood Azhar. Where are these three? Why haven't we still got them? There are a whole lot of people, Payal, and you know this.
No Ustad teaches anybody to kill anyone, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And there are a whole lot of other people in this country, viewers. And Payal, please feel free to weigh in on this, who questioned the Prime Minister when he went out there and did a deal, government-to-government deal with the French to get the Rafale. They said that he had sold this country down the toilet, that we were overpaying. In fact, just yesterday, there was a Congress handle that put out that stuff once again. There were people who said he's an effete Prime Minister, he talks more than he delivers. There were people who said that Pulwama was a false flag operation. They went on television. They are being quoted today in Pakistan by the Pakistani ISPR. There are many people who doubted the Prime Minister's intention. Today, viewers, and Payal, please correct me, do you think the PM has sent out a clear message that all the stuff you said about me was propaganda? I have walked the talk. Or am I exaggerating here?
Rahul, the dealers and the dealing age is far gone. That's probably the problem that multiple people now really have, because the dealers' doors are completely shut by this man, Narendra Modi. When in the last 10 years have you in fact come out and seen any proof coming to the fore as well? Of course, corruption cases have been there. Defense deals have always been a thing of the past. But nothing of that sort even coming to the fore right now as well. And for all those people who are damning the Indian government for the S-400 that was being bought, look what results it's delivering right now. It's like the Sudarshan Chakra that everybody was explaining to the visuals yesterday.
And the Akash,
actually saved India.
Homemade Akash. People, when they said, oh, when Modi declared before, I remember, COVID, that we are doing Atmanirbhar Bharat, they all mocked him. They said, oh, this is going back to import substitution days. This is the nationalization of industry, this, that, the other. Today, look at this, viewers. We are pummeled We have pummeled Pakistan. The Rawalpindi is the bastion of the Pakistani army. Payal, this takes a lot of doing.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, while we all really appreciate that all the political parties are speaking in one tone, but they've realized the results that Narendra Modi's government has been able to deliver. There's no charity even in the business of politics, Rahul.
Yes, absolutely. Well, there's more breaking news coming in, viewers. Look, we're going to keep these visuals on one side, viewers, because what we now know is that 5 high-value assets of the terror ecosystem have been pummeled. The Vice Admiral is here with us. The generals are here with us. Now we are being told that bomb-like debris has been found in Damtal, few kilometers away from Pathankot. Now remember, viewers, even as we are speaking, Pakistan is still not completely backed off. So they're still irritating us with their cheap Chinese drones and their defunct machines. They're trying here, they're trying there, because they want a face saver. As we speak, there is a meeting going on between the President of Pakistan and the Prime Minister of Pakistan. The two civilians, viewers who are not in control, they're clueless. In fact, no one is even picking up the phone and speaking to them. They're talking to each other. Rubio calls, but Rubio calls the military, the general who's actually in charge of Pakistan, which tells you everything. So they're sitting there and they're congratulating the Pakistani army, trying to look very self-indulgent and important, while all the decisions are being taken by a general who is completely absent. Our tri-service chiefs are visible. They are holding meetings. They are situation planning. They are auditing. They are assessing. The CDS is visible. The RM is visible. Yesterday you saw the RM and all the others in their combat gear smiling away because they know. Admiral, they know. They know that they've got Pakistan now on the ropes. The conversation we are having in government now, I'm quite sure, is whether this is enough. Should we de-escalate? The world is getting a little jittery. We'll have some pressure. Tomorrow someone will say that let's impose some sanctions. Now, have we done enough or do we need to do a little bit more? Please, let's get into that conversation.
I would say, Rahul, that time has come that before we tell Pakistan, you have lost, show your bloody white flag.
Yeah.
We should actually pulverize them further.
Okay.
And make sure that, it does not, raise his head. But one big terrorist, you forgot, you took all the names, Mullah Munir. I mean, he was speaking like a mullah. He was not like a general in chief of army staff that day.
Yes.
Certainly mullah. He is giving sermons on Islam. And, all that he said was totally wrong. He talked about, there is the two-nation theory. Islam is Hindu. I mean, it is all flawed. Otherwise, we would not have created Bangladesh. How did Bangladesh got created? That's an Islamic country, so he broke off from them. So that whole thing is quite flawed. And these guys have got some muck in their head which needs to be taken out this time. And Mullah Munir, he must, I'm telling you, shortly, he will get probably replaced by somebody or he will get eliminated by somebody. In fact, it was his totally personal project. It was not supported by the corps commanders, and it is quite possible that he will be replaced soon. Rahul.
Okay, I just also, before General Saab, before I come out to you, I'm going to come out to you in just about 3 minutes. Arunima is joining us very quickly for more updates on the story that has just been filed. Arunima, please go ahead.
So, now government has managed to get a hold about who all have been eliminated in the counter-offensive that was carried out after Pahalgam. We have a list of terrorists who have been identified. This list, I can't see the name of Rauf Azhar, and agencies are indicating that he could well be in the military hospital there. But the names that I can confirm to you, Mudassar Khadian Khas alias Abu Jundal, he's one of India's most wanted, responsible for most of the terror attacks that Lashkar-e-Toiba has carried out. It's believed that he was in charge of Markaz-e-Taiba in Muridke. One of the first attacks that was carried out by India after Pahalgam was at Markaz-e-Taiba, Muridke, and there was a guard of honor that was given to him for his funeral. So this is being confirmed. His funeral prayer was held in a government school led by Hafiz Abdul Rauf. You must have seen that picture. It was released by Indian government also. So he is one of those who's confirmed to have been killed. Hafiz Muhammad Jamil from the Jaish-e-Mohammed. He is the elder brother-in-law of Maulana Masood Azhar. Masood Azhar confirmed that he had lost 10 members of his family, all from his terror factory. So Hafiz Muhammad Jalil is the second person on that list. Muhammad Yusuf Azhar, his affiliation too is with the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the second brother-in-law of Masood Azhar. He was a man wanted in the IC 814 hijack case. So he has been eliminated after that strike at Bahawalpur as well.
Right.
Khalid alias Abu Aqsa from Lashkar-e-Toiba and Muhammad Hassan Khan. These are all top terrorists who have been identified by the intelligence agencies, and they're now telling us, government officials are now telling us that at least these 5 most wanted are no more. They have been killed after the conspiracy that was carried out in Pahalgam. In India's counter-offensive, these 5 have been eliminated.
Well, General Prasad and General Kohli are still with us. Viewers, we're going to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to go back to them because we have to ask some fundamental questions now on the moves ahead. We come back, stay with us, don't go away.
An escalation. I mean, Pakistan is willing to risk attacking your capital. Fortunately, we were able to disable it to make sure before it hit Delhi. But what if it had hit Delhi? And how do you know it's an armed conventional or is it a nuclear armed missile? So Pakistan is testing the limits of India's patience, and therefore any response henceforth will be measured. But that measure will also go up several notches.
Well, again, since you're talking about that, well, let me report 2 other developments. Sirens on in Jammu and another explosion heard in Srinagar. So let's just hope that everything is, everyone is out of harm's way. Akash joining us for more on these details. Ishan Wani reporting another explosion heard in Srinagar. Akash, the sirens in Jammu and the explosion heard in Srinagar. Yes.
Yes, we have been hearing these sirens. In fact, I'll try to give you some natural ambience. There you have the sirens, and these sirens are on since just a while back. We heard the AD gun sound destroying one drone, and I was in fact reporting that, Rahul. In fact, in Srinagar, we have been hearing about similar activities. So it seems like Pakistan is still not, in fact, letting its
big news coming in, Akash. Big news coming in. First phone call between India and Pakistan. The DGMOs are talking now. Just break this down for us. DGMOs talking. What does this mean?
Yes, Director General Military Operations. We have seen that how their offices connected last Tuesday. But Manoj Gupta has been reporting that one hotline connection has been established, in fact, today. And Pakistan wants de-escalation. This is a big news coming in fact, Rahul. Pakistan wants de-escalation. Situation is, in fact, bad in the country, and Pakistan wants to meet Indian side. This was the connection between the DGMOs on both the sides, and they have spoken on hotline. DGMO, remember, is someone...
Viewers, what are we seeing on our screens? We are seeing yet again the A-team. Viewers, the A-team of the Indian defense establishment, the think tank, is back again. Yesterday at 8:30 in the evening, these pictures were released of a meeting yesterday. I had said that something big is in the air, and we now know what happened. They are back again. This is Pakistan's worst nightmare. It takes a lot of political courage, conviction, viewers. That's the word. To go ahead, take the risks. This is a Prime Minister who's walking the talk. In Bihar, he said that I am going to inflict unimaginable punishment. When he went to Andhra Pradesh and when he met Chandrababu Naidu, Naidu turned around and said, I have seen pain in the Prime Minister's eyes. That was the first time he said that he's committed to the Prime Minister. He is pledging all support to the Prime Minister. Since then, viewers, the Prime Minister has executed this plan to perfection. He obviously has a large number of options that are presented to him, but it is left to his judgment to pick the option that works best. What step at the escalation ladder? decisive decision making by the Prime Minister. You can see him in complete command and control there. I want to bring in Arun Dhata. Arun Dhata, this is an important day. On the left and on the right is the think tank. That man, Ajit Doval, hangs in the background, is very understated, gets very little credit, but has single-handedly broken the back of Pakistan by hitting it at the spots where it hurts the most. And he knows Pakistan like no one else in this country because he has been there. He had infiltrated Pakistan. He was in Pakistan. He knows how to speak Arabic and Urdu and all the languages that make anyone functional in Pakistan, go undercover in Pakistan. Arun Dhata, over to you, sir. Arun, can you hear me?
That's right, Rahul, and that's the reason why you see the presence of NSA with Prime Minister each time. Whenever there is an important decision which Prime Minister Modi has to take either in the country or outside, you will find NSA Ajit Doval standing by him. And once again, in last couple of days, we've seen the presence of Ajit Doval here at 7 LKM, not only with the other officials, but we have seen that the separate meetings between NSA and Prime Minister Modi, that shows the confidence that he carries of Prime Minister Modi. And in these visuals, we can see that once again, Prime Minister is reviewing the situation with the Tri-Services Chief. You have CDS Anil Chauhan. You also have Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Now, we know that India is giving measured and brute response to Pakistan. And one important thing for which India is preparing at this point is that, and they've been saying that they have not started the escalation. They are only responding for the escalation of Pakistan, and that response should be in a manner that Pakistan gets that befitting reply. And perhaps that's the reason why you see that things are changing in Pakistan. The way their leaders are speaking, their foreign affairs minister is now in fact talking about the de-escalation. This is because of the measured and the calculated and the hard response that India is giving. And India is ensuring, Rahul, that no civilian casualty happens, and that's the reason why you see when Pakistan violates ceasefire and hit at the civilians, India could do the same thing. But India has been very, very measured. They are not targeting civilian areas, only military establishment or the terror outfit's infrastructure there. That's what India has been maintaining from the very first day. And today, of course, as India is responding to the Pakistan's misadventure, we are seeing Prime Minister Modi is chairing yet another review meeting here. Yesterday, we saw the review meeting happening in the evening, and subsequently we saw the response that India gave. The way India targeted their, the military establishment there, in different parts, and that is because of Pakistan's retaliation. And once again, when you have these people sitting in a room with Prime Minister Modi, we will of course have multiple things being discussed in this meeting, because of course they will be giving, the three Tri-Services Chief were there in the war room in South Block in the morning for 3 hours, and they will of course giving the first-hand information to the Prime Minister Modi. Ajit Doval is there, who's coordinating with everyone, CDS, Tri-Services Chief, Rajnath Singh, and here you have the entire team, this core group sitting together and also formulating strategy for further escalation from the Pakistan side. And this time perhaps the message would be very clear that you need to bleed them, you need to hit them where they actually get the real pain.
Absolutely, that's the A-team, viewers. The A-team is back. It is strategizing. There are two conversations that most probably could be happening there. General Shankar Prasad, I want to bring you in on this. General Kohli also here with us. General Shankar Prasad, there are two conversations. We are at that inflection point. Should we go further? Should we actually recalibrate? Is Pakistan going to strike again? That intelligence would have been brought to the table by Ajit Doval. What is Pakistan thinking? They would have tapped into Pakistan. They would have known that this particular escalation that Pakistan attempted and India's retaliation, how has it gone down there? Has the Pakistan military establishment decided to back off? If that is the information that is coming, India will not respond. But if they believe that there is still a way to go, that General Munir still hasn't understood what he needs to understand, and that there are some plans afoot, then how to actually react and respond. Remember, On the sidelines of the meeting in the morning, viewers, the message that was sent out was that India is only going to respond tit for tat. So if you come after our air bases, we're going to come after yours. And may the best person win. Siddhant is there with us. General Kohli is also here with us. Siddhant, over to you. Yes. Siddhant, can you hear me? Okay, we may not have Siddhant there. General Kohli, so this is the conversation. Where should we leave it? Where should we go from here? Should we respond only to what Pakistan does? Or should we now perhaps do something which is proactive, preemptive, rather than reactive? What do you think?
Rahul, firstly, whatever government has done and whatever we have achieved is absolutely commendable. The job which was done on the night of 6/7, the precise attacks at their terrorist camps, it is unprecedented. They never expected. It's a great feat for the entire country. There's no doubt in this. Having said that, you see, at the moment, our conditions for us are very, very favorable. We should not let go of this opportunity. Though, of course, the right decision will be taken by the government. They have all the inputs with them. Some kind of, when I say the lessons, it means their military has to be hit. Let Munir come, or let their senior officers come and say, okay, please stop it. So that the kind of larger than life image army has created in Pakistan, that image should go away. That only will get us peace for few years at least. And also I want to say something. We are also being observed by Bangladesh. You see, they are also trying a number of things in northeast. They should know what has happened to Pakistan, who is their elder brother, so that they also behave with us. Otherwise, Yunus and other people have also been making very irresponsible statements. We are also being seen by China. China is also observing what kind of equipment we are using, how reliable their own equipment are. So, at the moment, if I am there, like you say, I need to recommend to the government, I will say we need to go further ahead and more punitive sort of deterrent for these people so that they learn a lesson. Because, and at the same time, we don't get so much involved that we forget our aim, which is of Viksit Bharat, because our country is absolutely different than the Pakistan.
Absolutely. We don't want a hyphenation, viewers. We don't want to go back 10 decades. That's where Pakistan is right now. They go with a begging bowl internationally. We have become the 5th largest. In 2 years, we're going to be the 3rd largest economy. By 2050, we're aspiring to be the top economy. And if we continue down this road, we will be. Of course, viewers, the entire edifice of Viksit Bharat is being laid in the last few years. And many people, viewers, have been going out there and saying that, look, nothing is being done, nothing is being done. Well, the best way to prove is to let the bat talk. And the Prime Minister has not just talked, viewers. He has delivered. I want to just show you some pictures from Rahim Yar Khan. We're just going to split this screen. The Prime Minister holding this meeting. This is the inner core. This is the think tank, the military think tank, the A-team. Ajit Doval is probably bringing documents there to present the Prime Minister an audit of what was done. Remember, he met him for about 1 hour, 20 minutes this morning to the one-on-one meeting. That must have been, this is what we did, sir. This is what you asked us to do. And I just want to show, not this photograph, but the photograph of Rahim Yar Khan, the airbase that was blasted. We just broke those pictures a short while back. All those pictures, that video evidence would have been shown to the Prime Minister. You wanted us to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This is what we have been able to do. This is not what we couldn't do. Then they would have said that, look, what now do you think is Pakistan's response going to be? They would have had the military intelligence supply them with those inputs. Let's split the screen, please. They would have had military intelligence supply them with that detailing. They would have said, okay, sir, this is what we are picking up. This is what Pakistan now expects to do. This is the retaliatory steps we think they're going to take. This is where they're going to hit us. Remember, this is an active operation. Because Operation Sindoor 4.0 or 5.0, whatever you want to call it, is still actually taking place on our side. Even now, with drone attacks in Pathankot, in Srinagar, there have been alarms that have been sounded, etc., etc. So this is still a hot LOC. Now, viewers, we've already said we are going to respond to you correspondingly, tit for tat. So if you're going to hit us X place, an airbase, we are going to hit you on your airbase. Clearly, we've been more successful. We have the better defense military systems. The Pakistanis don't. They've relied on Chinese infrastructure, which hasn't quite paid off. Now, I don't know why viewers. Maybe they're not very good at using it. I don't know. But the world is studying this. In fact, let me tell you that the first day, many people are saying that India has scrambled more than 80 jets. And the other side had also scrambled several jets. And the biggest dogfight had taken place in Indian skies. That's when we actually went in and took out all those terror targets, viewers, where those top 5 terrorists were killed. And people are studying that to see which equipment, what really works best, the strategies. No one has seen 2 nuclear powers engage like that. And it gives the world, all the top militaries, an insight. Now, viewers, all that material, the audit would be presented to the Prime Minister. He would be told these are the steps that Pakistan will probably take to in 24 hours. Then he'll be presented a bunch of options, how to counter. Usually you escalate a little more, don't you, sir, than the provocation. India has, of course, been very responsible. Pakistan has done a lot of other stuff, isn't it? Targeting our civilians, etc., which we don't want to do because we are not a rogue army, is it? So I suppose now the next step is to, what should we do next? We know what we have done. Are there any missions that have been unchecked? Number one. Number two, should we use the seas? We've used only the air. Should we use the military? What do you think, sir?
You see the point what you're saying. Raim Khan, like General Shankar had explained, it is opposite Jaisalmer. It is their 5 corps headquarters. It's a very important place of theirs. And that place has been hit. You don't know, the corps headquarters also must have been hit. And and also, Rahul, this war gaming, what you're talking of, what we should do, what will they do, this goes on at all levels.
Right.
Right from lower formation till higher formation. And only the gist is sort of discussed with the
So the Prime Minister has been given a few options. That's what you're saying. Okay, let me just go across to Aman Sharma. Aman, this is again the A team of the Indian military establishment, along with the Prime Minister sitting there discussing options, reviewing perhaps the performance and of course seeing if all the objectives are being met, where this particular campaign is going. Remember yesterday, Aman, at around 8 o'clock, many people sort of laughed at us because we had put out these visuals and said something is cooking. Clearly, once again, there is a meeting of minds taking place. Options will be presented to the Prime Minister once again, depending on what intelligence is picked up as to how Pakistan is going to respond. Just talk us through this, because at the heart of this are 2 individuals. Let's not forget the army, of course, the military, of course, the air force, of course, the navy, of course. Without them, we are nothing. But they also require what is known as political backing. They must know that the political establishment has complete faith in them. And the Prime Minister has built us up to the point where the army believes, where the military believes, where the navy believes, where the air force believes it can actually do damage to Pakistan, because it has the tools finally to do it. The will was always there.
Well, absolutely, Rahul. And what we see in these pictures, I would describe is as the top think tank of Operation Sindoor. You know, whenever this think tank has met together, something big has happened. And Prime Minister obviously is taking stock today of what has happened since the wee hours today. See, Rahul, the word that I'm getting from top government officials is that, look, we did not start this war. The war was started by Pakistan. The war was started by Pakistan in Pahalgam on April 22nd. We responded with Operation Sindoor, and we only targeted the terrorist headquarters and the terror infrastructure in Pakistan. But if Pakistan won't stop this war, the war it started, India will surely end it. Eat ka jawab patthar se diya jayega. That's what an official told me. That if Pakistan continues to strike us the way it is, the attempts that they are continuing, India will strike back. Let the US say what it wants to say. Let Saudi Arabia say what it wants to say. India is very, very clear. The Prime Minister has given operational freedom to the armed forces, not just for Operation Sindoor, but also the operational freedom to strike back at Pakistan if there are 300 to 400 drones fired towards India from...
Okay, a few problems there with Aman. We're going to try, with Aman's connection, we're going to try and reconnect. Aman was making a very important point, viewers. Very, very important points being made by all our panelists. And of course, viewers, very, very importantly, I'm sure some very important points are being made around that table. Now, viewers, fundamentally, what are we seeing? We are seeing a Pakistan that has found itself completely overwhelmed. General, completely overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
They're completely, they don't know which way to go, which way to look. Rawalpindi, the military cradle of Pakistan, hit. And I just want to show you those pictures of Rawalpindi, viewers, the airbase there. That airbase is probably a very, very important airbase.
Yes, it is.
Perhaps the premier one.
Yes.
Can you talk us through it?
Rawalpindi, Sargodha, these are the bases which are very important, and they have their assets there, and normally they take off from there. When they come, they will launch their fighters. Those are the places they will be using, and they've been using it in the past also.
Yes.
These are the important places. They keep their assets safe, but something I'm sure must have been exposed. In any case, those two things which have happened, suppression of their AD and destruction of their AD, they call it seed and deed. The both things we've been successful in doing that.
We've been successful in doing that. General Qadian, welcome. Good afternoon, General Qadian. The think tank is back. You can see it. The Prime Minister, the CDS, the three chiefs, the RM, Ajit Doval, all in that room. Now, first of all, just give us a quick review of all the military operations that we have conducted, sir. What has been the thinking? What has been the aim?
For me, Rahul?
Yes, sir. General Qadian, to you, sir. The assessment, your assessment, sir.
Pakistani army is contesting legitimacy. They want to remain in Pakistan. That is the only reason. There is no rationale. India had to react to that barbarous terror attack, which was not the first, but the last, nor is it the last. India made it very clear after the attack. Firstly, the timing of the attack was such that there were no civilians outside and there was a minimum danger of collateral damage. The very next morning, India said, we have only attacked the terror infrastructure. Our action is non-escalatory. That means India had done what it wanted to do. After that, the Pakistanis attacked 15 military targets on the first evening, 26 on the next evening, and they're still continuing. Let's look at the larger picture. Two nuclear powers on the brink of war must be stopped. Unfortunately, today the world does not have a big brother like it happened in the past. America, which is the only power which could have wielded influence, has washed its hands off. If you listen to the vice president, he says we have nothing to do with it. European Union is frittered.
Yes.
Russia is too involved in its own affairs. Only country that could have wielded influence in Pakistan but is not doing so is China.
Yes.
Pakistan is indebted to China of the 40 billion loan that they've taken, 30% is from China. But China is playing an ambivalent game. It wants to keep India weak, but it's a very dangerous situation. India still acted very irresponsibly.
Yeah.
Any de-escalation has to start from Pakistan.
Right.
They have escalated.
They have
The
escalated.
onus for
Absolutely.
de-escalation is entirely on them.
And we are getting
If they
feelers.
want to start a
General
war,
Qadian, let me tell you, we are
will be
getting
cowards
feelers.
to pull it back.
We are getting major feelers. The Indian establishment is getting major feelers from Pakistan. They have lost their resolve. Aman Sharma joins me for more on those. Aman, the DGMO is making, the Pakistani DGMO is reaching out. They want talks. They want to de-escalate. They are saying, ho gaya, thank you, you've done enough. I don't know if they're chastened, but we've learnt our lesson. Ho gaya, aap kuch kariye, sir. Ho gaya, don't punish us more. Look at the punishment. Now, that's one. Then the Americans have told us, get back to the table, because after speaking to the general there, they've said, listen, what do you want? And the general, I think, has said, please, can you ask the Indians to come back to the table? So, Aman, are you seeing now perhaps a focused attempt by Pakistan to come back to the table and tell Modi, we made a mistake, sorry, we underestimated you?
See, Rahul, I think India would like to judge Pakistan by its actions and not its words. You know, Pakistan has a long history of duplicity, and India won't really get taken in by what is Pakistan saying now after taking serious reverses. The Indian government, Rahul, is very clear. We never meant to hurt Pakistan. We only meant to hurt the terror infrastructure, the terror headquarters which are functioning from Pakistani soil. And Operation Sindoor was a perfect de-escalatory strike, a very focused strike on just the terror infrastructure on May 7th. It was not on civilian infrastructure. In fact, India did not touch, though it could have, any of the Pakistani military infrastructure on 7th. So Indian strike was a retaliation to the Pahalgam attack, which was the original escalation by Pakistan. But look at what has happened post the 7th. On the night of the 8th, on the night of the 9th, we have seen 300 to 400 drones attack multiple 36 cities in India, including our military targets. On its 8th night, it was through drones, and on 9th night, which is the early today morning, Rahul, there are now fighter jets into the plane. There are ballistic missiles in the picture by Pakistan. It is Pakistan which has upped the ante, trying to attack our Adampur air base, our Sirsa air base, our Udhampur air base. This is complete announcement of almost like war by Pakistan. So who is escalating here? India is very clear. We are not escalating. Our attacks are all de-escalatory. Our strike was de-escalatory. But if Pakistan wants a war, then, you know, the feeling is so be it. We will not step back. We have to defend our territory. If Pakistan will continue with such offensive actions, eat ka jawab patthar se diya jayega, is what one official told me, senior official, saying, if they attack us, we will attack them. We don't care what the US says. We don't care what the Saudi says. Let the US and the Saudi be convincing Asim Munir itself. And you know, this, Rahul, I think this morning call by Rubio to Asim Munir is a dead giveaway that even the US has realized now that it is the Pakistani army which is calling the shots. It is Asim Munir who's not only the mastermind of the Pahalgam strike,
you will
but
laugh.
also...
You will laugh at this. You will laugh at this. Look at what is happening in Pakistan. They have completely lost it. The political establishment, the left doesn't know what the right is doing. So if you remember, we broke the story because Reuters reported it. Now, I don't know if Reuters is cooking up facts. You can never know with some of these international news organizations. But they said, Pakistan PM calls meeting of the body that oversees nuclear arsenal, which is the National Command Authority, if you remember. That news went completely viral. Everyone was talking about it. The world's powers started calling us this, that, the other. Now we have the Pakistan defense minister who's come out and said, no meeting of government top nuclear body is scheduled. Ye kya ho raha hai, sir, Pakistan mein? Left doesn't know what right is doing, right doesn't know what left is doing, no one knows what each other is doing, no one knows what the army is doing, no one knows what the executive is doing, no one knows what the Baluchis are doing, no one knows what the Pashtuns are doing, no one knows what the Sindhis are doing. It's a complete chaos.
Well, absolutely, and this chaos is being perpetrated by Asim Munir, Rahul. He is the one, you know, I think, as I was saying, Rubio's call to Asim Munir to saying, boss, please de-escalate now, is a dead giveaway that Munir is calling the shots in Pakistan. The nuclear call is just a bogey, Rahul. I was speaking to a top official a few days back, asking him that Pakistan is talking about nuclear weapons, and he recited to me a line of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, you know, from many years back, 2 decades back, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee has said कि अगर पाकिस्तान परमाणु हथियार चलाता है तो भारत का तो कुछ नहीं बिगड़ेगा और पाकिस्तान अगले दिन का सूरज नहीं देख पाएगा. So you know, that is the line India has always maintained, that this nuclear button is all a bogey. Pakistan also already has suffered extensive damage, you know, hitting Rawalpindi's airbase, Rahul, getting that deep inside Pakistani territory using our fighter jets is a clear signal to Pakistan that if it does not de-escalate now, it will suffer even more serious consequences. And I think this meeting that the Prime Minister has held today with the 3 service chiefs, the CDS, the NSA and the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, the message is very clear that, you know, we will not step back. If Pakistan attacks us, we will respond with equal measure, if not more, and we can go to any extent against these sinister designs of Pakistan. So I think Indian strategy is very, very clear. The US is trying to now suddenly play peacemaker, you know, by calling up Munir and the Deputy PM on that side and Mr. Jaishankar on this side. And I think Mr. Jaishankar's answer to Rubio, which he has put out on X, is very, very significant, that India's attack or India's strike has always been measured and de-escalatory. Don't teach us that we are escalating. It is Pakistan which is escalating, and you need to go and teach Pakistan how to step down now, how to get off the ramp.
Okay,
from
some
this
breaking news coming in.
And Asim Munir, if he has...
Well, off ramp, look, I mean, you know, the ramp was out there for him. He didn't take it. He now knows what happens if you don't take the Prime Minister of India seriously, if you don't take India seriously, if you don't take India's armed forces seriously. He now knows that, viewers. More breaking news coming in. Turkish kamikaze drone recovered in village in Nowshera area, Pakistan, targeting civilian areas. Tejinder is there with us for more. Payal is coming in on this. Payal, two big newses that you have to give to us. One, of course, about this, and the other one about the nuclear bluff that Pakistan was calling. But first, this one. Turkish kamikaze drones recovered in Nowshera.
Well, didn't Turkey call up, Pakistan and told them that they're supporting them in their calm and restrained policies, and this is a crisis that Pakistan is trying to manage. Just about yesterday, our forces did inform us that they were very sure that this was Turkish, backed drone system that Pakistan was using.
Okay.
But the forensic examination was on its way, but the proof is now really out, And India, Rahul, is one country which is boosting Turkey's, economy the most. Plenty of Indian visitors go to Azerbaijan and the other places to boost their economy, and this is what we get in return. Shame on Turkey to begin with.
Shame on Turkey to begin with, viewers. That's really what's also, I'm telling you, that a large number of tour operators who took Indian tourists to Turkey have started saying that, look, we are not going to now deal with this country. And there's another country also in the Central Asia republics that they don't want to take any tourists to. Let me now go across to Akash. Akash, Pakistan's nuclear bluff. Many news now coming out of Pakistan. The president there meeting the Prime Minister. You have leaders like the former Pakistan Air Marshal Masood, who's come out and said we're in a very bad way. What's happening?
Right. So Rahul, I'll come to that. But, first of all, this drone, kamikaze drone, I want to mention here that, sources within the Indian Armed Forces are telling us that at many places they have found these Turkish-made kamikaze drones. Kamikaze drone is basically the suicidal drone. It hits the target and then gets blasted. And in fact, in this particular case, we are learning that it is possibly TB2. Though forensic experts are there, who are checking, and in fact, people from the armed forces will be, visiting there, and in fact, will be checking as to which drone it is. But this is for the first time when these Turkey-made drones are, coming here in the Indian territory. And these drones, in fact, Pakistan and Turkey both are co-producing the munition, if I'm not wrong. Back in 2023, it started. In fact, they inducted these drones in 2022. And then in 2023, they signed some sort of memorandum of understanding. And they have, in fact, started the co-production of munitions for these drones. So it's a big development given the fact that agencies, have thwarted maximum of, these, attacks. And now it is, a slap on the face of those agencies as well, both in Pakistan and in Turkey, that come with claim like, these drones cannot be tracked, cannot be hit, cannot be targeted. This is the air defense of India, that has thwarted these attempts where, these, in fact, drones were trying to hit the target, hit the military installations, and our agencies, our air defense systems, have, in fact, detected and have destroyed these drones.
Okay, well, big news coming out, viewers. Remember, the Turkish role is not one which is very honorable. So let's get in some of our guests and talk about this. Rajiv Dogra, former diplomat, joins us. And of course, we also have Group Captain Dr. V.N. Jha with us. And we also have, we also have General Qadian, of course, and we have General Sanjay Meston, who's with me in the studio. General Saab, how do you view this next step that the Pakistanis have taken, this decision to still provoke India? Do you think this was made out of a sense of hubris, or did they really think they had a chance?
I think I would go with your statement. They have done it with due fear and anxiety.
Anxiety?
Yeah. They have not realized what the Indian response would be. Firstly, our Indian response has been too good in terms of our defensive capabilities. Our integrated air command and control structure has been absolute efficient. And we have seen all across, along the 3,300 kilometers of the line of control and the international border, everywhere we have taken on all these drones very effectively. and to the extent some of them have been taken away destroyed by our Zu-23 guns and L-70, which are very old weapon systems. So these drones have been destroyed effectively, and this reflects the kamikaze drones which have been given by Turkey. And mind you, if you remember, their ship had come, and even in this Noor Khan Air Base, their flights had come, cargo planes had come, so, and Karachi airport also. So what I am trying to say is Turkey is helping them like hell, and this is the same nation whom India has helped when they had the earthquake over there.
Yes.
So anyway, that's a different issue, but I think a good step taken by all the tour operators is we should cancel tourism totally with Turkey, because I wonder why they are supporting Pakistan so much. Because when I was a defense attaché in Afghanistan, I recollect one of the reasons which I assess is the most liked country by the Afghans was India, and the most hated was Pakistan. But what I am surprised is that Turkey also knew this, that we are the most liked. So I think it is out of that vengeance. Indians who are admired in Afghanistan, so let's align with India's enemy, that is Pakistan, and help them. So I think with Turkey we have to be very firm, and it reflects what kind of technology they have, what kind of make they have. They have been effectively destroyed by the Indian systems. Now coming on to our offensive capabilities, I think Rahul, we have proved it beyond doubt that we are very clear in our strategic targeting. Right from day one, we targeted 9 bases which were harboring these terrorists, all terrorists, and today 5 of them have been declared as killed, the top leaders.
Destroyed.
Yeah, so
yeah,
we
have
been
6 feet under. They're 6 feet under, sir. They're 6 feet under.
Yeah, so
yes.
we have been very specific in our targeting, and even yesterday's targeting, which has been spoken about today, all these targets, and we have hit the heart of Pakistan, that is Punjab, the heartland, and everywhere, whether it is Rahimyar Khan, whether Noor Khan Air Base, Murid, everywhere we have hit them very, very hard, Sialkot, etc. So the best part is we as a country have hit Punjab, Pakistan, and that is a great victory and achievement for us, because the entire power flows out from Punjab, and Munir's house is very close by, even Shahbaz Sharif's house is very close by to this Noor Khan Air Base, and it is very close to the GHQ of Pakistan.
Yes, I mean, can you imagine? We have struck in the heart of the Pakistani military establishment, Group Captain Dr. Jha. I mean, if these, they live in their ivory towers in their own country and they think that they rule the world, and certainly the subcontinent, they have been told that if they think they can sit in their palaces and they're very safe there, well, India will get you. We can come after you.
Absolutely. There is no doubt at all. And to start with, I must tell you, Operation Sindoor, which ended with its strike at the 7 places and gutting them, was absolutely, with the perfection. There cannot be even any better perfection than what Operation Sindoor was carried out. But that was the end of the resolve that PM Modi had taken to teach a lesson to the jihadi network in Pakistan. That was finished. Now thereafter, Pakistan has mounted a war. Actually, they mounted the war in a limited way on 7th itself.
Yes.
But that India, somehow shrugged off. But 8th and 9th, the type of attack that was mounted, still in some corners of Indian defense, Indian diplomats and diplomatic world abroad, there were talks of violation or gross violation of ceasefire. It was not. It is a war. It was a war, and that is what was going on, that we should have perceived it there. And absolutely our defense system, air defense system has worked that way and taken, neutralized all those threats. There's absolutely no doubt.
Okay.
But there is one thing that I have. Indian Armed Forces is known worldwide for its proficiency, for its efficiency, and for its impact. Military doctrine is essentially the one in which you neutralize the enemy to an extent that they are unable to mount an attack onto you. Having seen Pakistani resolve on 8th and 9th, and even today, they continue mounting those attacks, and we know from which all bases they are mounting the attack. I'm glad and I'm proud that Indian Army, Indian Armed Forces is retaliating. But gone are the days that you retaliate, you ke jawab diya. Rahul, we are in New India. Herein we have got the capability to put the enemy onto the mat. And these people, from where the attacks are being mounted, those spots are being monitored by the Cartosat 3 in the space and many other assets. We know pinpoint, we know the exact coordinate where from it is there. I'm slightly puzzled why our strategic command with the conventional weapons are not able to neutralize those places, because they should stop. I mean, they should shit in their pants before launching any more attacks.
Okay, very fruity language, very colorful language there. Let's abjure that. I understand, sir, that passions are running high. Indians are feeling very confident, but confidence is also something that must be espoused, must be eschewed rather. Why? Because sometimes overconfidence leads to mistakes. So we don't want to make mistakes. We have been an extremely responsible and professional armed force. June Isomura is here with us, Senior Fellow, the Hudson Institute and former advisor to Shinzo Abe, a great friend of the Prime Minister's, a leader himself, Shinzo Abe, who revived the idea of the Quad, great friend of India. And I want to go straight across to Mr. Isomura. Mr. Isomura, how do you evaluate India's response? I know that there is, of course, concern globally because there are these two nuclear powers that are, I won't call it a conflict, but it has, by another names, taken on the shape of a conflict. Let's be honest about it. Since no one has declared it as such, I'm not going to use that term, but call it what you may. India has acted very responsibly, very professionally. We've targeted terror infrastructure, and now we are restricting ourselves to targeting their military infrastructure only because they decided to cross the line and attack ours. They had a off-ramp option which they could have taken. They haven't taken it. They've given twice the benefit of the doubt to take that off-ramp option, but they haven't. How do you see this shaping up now?
Thank you. Actually, it looks like it's rather difficult to talk between India and Pakistan directly. So I hope that the China. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, sir. Yeah.
And China and Russia, Putin and Xi Jinping, they are expecting they work between India and Pakistan,
right,
as soon as possible. And the situation now, India is very, very important because of the Trump's tax issue. And the China facing quite difficulties, and the many U.S. companies in China, they are trying to extend from China to India. So India is very, very important situation today. So India concerned as soon as possible to stop the war. And I'm expecting that China and Russia to intermediate between India and Pakistan. Thank you.
Well, that's very interesting. Siddhant, let me bring you in because there has been a conversation between the Saudi foreign minister, who is also interlocuting with the Pakistani counterpart, as well as Dr. Jaishankar. So Saudi Arabia trying to play some sort of a role. Can you elaborate on this? What do you know?
Right, Rahul, US and Saudi Arabia both are giving efforts to de-escalate. In fact, there have been conversations since morning. First, Marco Rubio spoke to Asim Munir, then Marco Rubio spoke to Minister Jaishankar. Then we're getting to know that the Foreign Minister of Saudi Arabia held talks with both Ishaq Dar and Foreign Minister Jaishankar. And in fact, the day before yesterday, Deputy Saudi Foreign Minister was in New Delhi. In fact, his convoy was spotted near 7 LKM. Though the photos were not released by the Indian side, but we've been told that called on Prime Minister Modi yesterday. He was in Islamabad, met Shehbaz Sharif and Asim Munir. Also, there is something which I would like to highlight here, Rahul, if you allow me to.
Of course.
That on the very first day when these calls were made, when US and Saudi Arabia, when they contacted India first because they wanted to condemn the attacks and perhaps they extended full support to India. But you see, today, these calls were first made to Pakistan because now they are telling Pakistan to de-escalate because they have also realized that it is Pakistan which is escalating. And this is the reason that, Marco Rubio also decided to speak directly to Asim Munir. Imagine Rahul, Secretary of State, NSA of United States, is speaking to an army chief of Pakistan. And the only reason for it is that because the Americans have understood that this person is the perpetrator and he is calling the shots and he is behind the nefarious designs. So, Marco Rubio, I'm told that he blasted at Asim Munir and he has been very clearly told to de-escalate and perhaps end this nefarious designs that he has put in place from last 3 weeks. So message is very clear. When it was to support India, to extend support to India, the calls came first to India. Perhaps Indian Foreign Minister, in fact, President Trump spoke to Prime Minister Modi, if you remember, on the very first day. But when it comes to de-escalation, then the calls are first going to Pakistan. And perhaps Pakistan is very clearly being told that look, there should not be any further de-escalation. Otherwise, Pakistan will meet the consequences. This is perhaps what I could interpret at this point in time.
Right. So obviously, powers that enjoy good relations in both capitals are now injecting themselves to try and build some sort of confidence between the two sides to return to the path of total peace. Well, India will have to take that call independently of the pressure. India is in that position now, viewers, where it doesn't really depend on anyone else to determine its own destiny. So it can very well tell the Americans that, look, we haven't achieved our strategic objectives and we need to proceed with this operation, see it to its logical conclusion, ensure that we enforce deterrence to the point that Pakistan doesn't repeat these, what should one call it, bestial and barbaric acts again, ever again, viewers. So quite clearly, you're going to have the Indian establishment sit down and assess where they are with regards to their objectives, which is to enforce deterrence on Pakistan, lasting, sustainable deterrence. Of course, viewers, don't ever forget that there are a large number of non-kinetic actions that have also been taken. So we have held in abeyance the Indus Water Treaty. We have lowered the diplomatic connect. We have strangled them as far as trade is concerned. We have called for international sanctions. We have also, viewers, very, very cleverly, and this is something that I think the government needs to be credited with, begun a campaign to also bring pressure to bear upon Pakistan's allies. So you have another whole set of options that are being pressed into service to disincentivize any further action by Pakistan. But kinetic options cannot be taken off because they have the most stilling effect. They have the most salutary, in some ways, punitive effects. Now, viewers, government sources have told us that Turkish kamikaze drones that are recovered in the village in Nowshera area, Pakistan, targeting civilian areas. This is given by government sources, clearly shows that Turkey's hand, and this is why things could and will go bad between India and Turkey. This will have an impact on trade ties. Projected trade is about $20 billion. They depend on us for many food items. India could now cut this. As of now, trade is about $8.5 billion. We export oil, steel, machinery. This is important for them. Pallavi joins us for more on this. Pallavi, we've also opened a line, of course, to the Greeks and others who have a problem with Turkey. So we are aware now, aren't we?
You know, Rahul, war times also shows who are your friends and who are your enemies. And this war certainly seems to have kind of shown and exposed Turkey. You know, if you remember a few months back, there was earthquake and Prime Minister was the first leader, the first world leader who launched Operation Dost and gave out huge amount of assistance as far as Turkey was concerned. So the last thing India expected is that Turkey is going to side with our enemy and someone who's clearly targeted their innocence with us. Now, these pictures which have been put out by way of government sources very clearly clearly shows Turkish marked drones, and they've been found in the Nowshera area, and essentially they were meant to target the civilians. So it's a double whammy really for Turkey. One, siding with a terrorist or rogue nation like Pakistan, and second, of course, is that also being a part of an operation in which the innocent lives could be lost. Very quickly, this is going to have its impact. I mean, Indian government sources are very clearly telling us that, now is not the time immediately, but Hamto definitely will teach Turkey a lesson. And teaching Turkey a lesson is again going to be in terms of a strain, diplomatic strain between the two countries. Trade ties could be one of the first to be affected. As of now, it's $8.5 billion. That's the kind of trade we see between the two countries. And, just recently they had come to an agreement of bringing it up to $20 billion. It's not going to go up to that. Turkey depends on us for their imports more than we depend on them for our imports. So whether it's a machinery, steel, oil parts, oil, mineral oil, all of that Turkey depends on India, and they actually get very, very good rates. So therefore, this is something which is going to see the first fallout, because something which we can never ever accept is that those who are siding with Pakistan, and India is watching it very, very carefully.
Absolutely, and that's very, very important. I think India, viewers, has realized that it's calling the shots in this equation. Pallavi, correct me if I'm wrong. We also have a situation where the Prime Minister is meeting with his think tank. The Prime Minister is now deciding the options, because if the world is asking India and Pakistan to de-escalate, he has to take a decision whether enough cost has been imposed, number one, on Pakistan. Number two, if a lasting deterrence has been in some ways imposed on Pakistan. So these are decisions that the Prime Minister will be taking. Of course, if over the next 24 hours Pakistan doesn't escalate, then maybe we can extract an undertaking, though in the past they have never really worked. So I think the ball really now firmly is in India's court. We've got the upper hand. Would you agree?
Absolutely, and I think the narrative is very important.